It's debatable. Philly debatable.
I was going to say, the different show. All right, Brace, is all yours.
Beautiful. And we are live, ladies and gentlemen. This is exciting. Fox Sports Radio, the Gambler Fantasy Football League 2023. And somebody just hit a ball off the upper deck. Bryce freaking Harper.
Again.
Of course.
Oh, my Lord.
That means I'm about 10 seconds behind you guys, huh?
Oh, my Lord. This dude is just insane.
I gotta go do my thing. No.
All right. Depending, hopefully everything is the same, but if you are looking live, we got Mike Powers, Give Us a Shot Network, Powers Parlay, gets the job done, and I also call him Powers Production, but everyone gets mad at me from his team when I do.
Yeah.
I kid. Below me in our center square, left, well, that's not center. That would be more of the left side. Our fantasy guru, fantasy expert, Roy Burton, which you can find him at gtdecision.net online or on socials at the BS line. And a good evening, Roy.
Hello, gentlemen. How's it going?
All right. Immediately next to him, we got Nick Pinecones, but we can't see right now because somebody hit a button. Oh, now we're all screwed up. All right,
That's me. I got it.
Oh, you're good.
We're good.
You're good. We got Nick Pinecones over there with the shades on. Oh, Mike Powers back. Smooth operation. Smooth operation.
Oh, there we go.
Nick Pinecones, Sean Bernard, Joe Tanzi, Upset City Joe. I did not think we would see your beautiful mug. I told you that's always good for ratings.
Me?
Yeah.
As the reigning commissioner, I have to make sure that, like, in case this goes off the rails, like this,
there's going to be a coup.
This could easily turn into a game of Hollywood Squares right now.
Yes, absolutely. Hey, already off the rails.
Are you Richard Dawson by default?
I'm still drunk from Vegas, so I fit the bill. All right.
I mean, that fits Richard Dawson.
And last but not least, here on the stream, he is the commish, Mark Henry Jr. Great to have everybody. Of course, we're going to be putting this out there, so you'll be joining along. We also have Luke Arcaney. We also have John Jansen. We also have Kyle /Nunamaker. And am I missing? Oh, Jeremy, who does a great job on Saturdays with the crew. And Tim O'Keefe. Who's picking number 3. So, without further ado, what do you say? Well, Kamish, take it away. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I'll resume the draft here. We might get a loud ESPN noise. There we go. Sean Brace, take it away.
I am in three leagues. The one I just was in drafted last Saturday night. I came. Are
you
going
to take the entire 2 minutes with the number 1 pick? Is that what you're doing here? I have another draft at 9 o'clock, so
that league.
Hurry up.
Oh my God, 17 rounds. That league was only 13 rounds, and Patrick Mahomes went number 1.
Ooh.
My friend, I'm just going to stick to the script.
Okay.
Justin Jefferson.
Well done.
Good job. Keep it easy.
That's the correct pick.
Commissioner, what are the rules here? Is this a PPR league? We didn't get a group text about
Yeah, so this is just ESPN Standard. It's ESPN Standard League, which I believe the stat is 56% of fantasy leagues are just the ESPN Standard League. So I tried to just make it as normal across the board for people watching, so you can make adjustments based if there's different scoring systems if you're watching. But this is just normal. PPR, 4 points per pass touchdown, 1 flex, just your basic league.
Perfect.
Good to know 2 picks before. I know
we were in the league.
Sean hates my take, but Yahoo is the far superior fantasy football
You are going to get boo.
For decades.
Yeah, it's a boo for me. It's a boo for me. For me, it's not really about what's better. It's just ESPN's the industry leader, and all my other leagues are on there. I like having all my leagues on one source instead of going elsewhere. So that's personally what it is for me.
Sean, go ahead and pick.
All right. Do you want me to talk through it or just make the selection here? I'm going Christian McCaffrey. Christian McCaffrey is going to be my pick for number 2. I was swayed by the lack of running backs these days that I figured I'd lock one up and take him with a 2 pick.
I know you were talking on the Tough Cover Radio show. You were aghast that people were taking Austin Eckler over Christian McCaffrey. So I figured that's where you were going.
Yeah. Thought about Jamar Chase, but wanted to lock up the running back.
Austin Eckler, like that. There you go. Let's see here. I'm trying to get my the full zoom so I could see. Let's see.
With the third pick, TKO, Tim O'Keefe just took Austin Eckler. So it's gone pretty chalk off the board here, relatively. I guess Jamar Chase is going number 2 in ESPN ADP. So 3 and 4 went off the board before 2 there. But in most leagues I've been in, that's pretty close to standard.
Mm-hmm. And I texted with Kyle. I'm going to give him a call right before he makes his selections. You're good to make the actual picks, right, Mark?
Yeah, I can if we need me to make some picks for people. Yeah.
Okay, cool.
We have Roy Burton on the clock at 4
sir.
here. Roy, you want to talk us through kind of your decision-making process here?
I have the 4 pick. So, in a PPR league, I'm going to lean more towards the wide receivers or a tight end. We got Jamar Chase on the board. We have Travis Kelce on the board, but there's a guy who's kind of intriguing me this summer. So I will take, with the number 4 selection, I will select Tyreek Hill, wide receiver, Miami.
Bang, bang.
All right.
I like it.
Can't go wrong there. If Tua's healthy, he's going to be a top 3 receiver.
What if he's not, though? Even if he's not, he's still going to be what?
They'll get the ball in his hands.
The concern, he had 0 touchdowns in the games Tua did not play last year. His production actually dropped off a little bit more than Waddle's did in the games without Tua. So I think he definitely needs Tua out there. The Dolphins need Tua out there in general, though. So that goes for the whole, the whole organization. With the 5th pick,
Luke is probably in the center field seats or behind the wall out there at Citizens Bank Park, and he pulled Jamar Chase. I see.
It's good to know he wasn't smacked in the head by that Bryce Harper home run. He's got his wits about him. He took Jamar Chase. It's a pretty good pick at this point, but Joe Tanzi made the best pick of the draft so far, in my opinion, Travis Kelce. Sean Bernard's heard me say it many times. Travis Kelce has an argument to be drafted first in drafts this year. That's how much better he is than the rest of the tight ends on the board. He was 101 points better than tight end 2 last year. That's a 6 point per week advantage. I think he should have went second.
But my point is,
a lot of those numbers you said are great, Mark. A lot of those numbers, and I appreciate your research. I, on the other hand, have done 0 research for this because if you haven't realized, the Union play about a game every 2.5 days.
Yeah.
So here's basically the logic. Your numbers are great. I'm sure all of that means something. Mm-hmm. Who plays wide receiver for Kansas City? Name me 2 guys.
Yeah, absolutely.
So there's my draft strategy.
Travis Kelce.
Who's that? Who plays wide receiver for the Chiefs now?
It's a bunch of
Tony.
dudes.
Tony's probably going to be the guy, right?
He's reliable.
Yeah, Rasheed Rice, they drafted him in the 3rd.
Yeah, he looked good.
Guy Moore.
Yeah, exactly. Well, look,
you guys, you're proven.
I agree. I agree with you. I totally
But can I just say this? Can I say this, though? I think, hot take here, I think he kind of looked a little slow when I saw him on the field the last time. And I don't think he can go up. His numbers can only go down to what he put up last year.
That's great. He's a tight end. He doesn't have to be fast.
Right.
I don't know if they have to go down.
Big man catch football.
From Patrick. Yes, you're right.
And
exactly.
Who was the 7th pick there? Was that Jeremy? Oh, no,
Nick
the 7th pick.
Nick
7th
Pine
pick, Nick Picone. And that's a great pick there with Cooper Kupp.
Yeah, great pick. Tight ends do win championships, though. You get a dude. Julius Thomas. Like, are you kidding me? That was like, I went all the way to the championship with him because he came out of nowhere. I picked him up, and we went nuts.
I was saying last night that I think the 7th pick is the best pick of the draft. I think there's a very clear top 7, and since we have the best and brightest here at the Gambler, the top 7 went in the top 7 in my opinion. So there you go. I think getting the 7th pick is the best because you can get one of that top 7 while having the best chance to get a difference maker in the 2nd.
Mm-hmm. Got Jeremy on the clock now.
He's trolling me with his name about CM Punk for the wrestling fans out there. Nick Picone, you want to take it away? You want to talk to CM Punk?
Do you think they're do you think AEW is now like playing into the behind the scenes garbage?
I think it's more interesting. I think it's more interesting than anything Tony's booked in a long time. So maybe they should.
This could be a problem, but maybe it's not.
Hey, if everybody would, I know you guys are just about to get deep into the wrestling.
Yeah,
topic.
no, we need it. We'll get back to football.
If everybody wouldn't mind, please share the link at Fox PHL Gambler. Please share the link. Let everybody know that we're live here, having some fun. We got some viewers here, which is great, and we're also watching the Phils 2-1. Shohei on second right here, top of the third, excuse me. And get involved in the conversation either on StreamYard in the chat section or tweet us. We'll respond to everything. Any questions? Nothing's out of most things aren't out of bounds. All right, let's go. Tuesday Night Lights.
The FCC's not watching us right now. Bijan Robinson goes 8th to Jeremy. That's a really good pick there. Stephon Diggs goes 9th to Power. Stephon Diggs been one of the safest players in fantasy since joining the Bills. He's ranked no lower than 5th among wide receivers in targets, receptions, and fantasy points. He's been rock solid, incredibly consistent. Saquon Barkley at 10 to Jansen. It's funny to call Saquon safe, but he feels like he is safe right now.
I like this. You're like Kuiper or McShay right now. I don't have to do anything. You've got.
I'll break it down. I'll be mean when I have to.
I imagine just behind your screen, there's just like a board here, a board here.
I've got my tier sheets.
I can't wait till I draft a receiver in the 19th round and you give me like 5 tidbits on him, Mark. I really appreciate that.
Hey, I'll be here.
The only thing missing is like the draft intro. The dun, 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 you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Cool, but the only thing we're missing.
The pick is in, and the pick is in, and I'm taking my guy. Me and Roy talked about it on my show. Since Jerry Jeudy went down, if I've got to change my overall ride or die guy this year, it's Tony Pollard. I've got to go with Tony Pollard. Last year, he was running back 8 while missing 3 games. Zeke was running back 22 while missing 3 games. There's 16 touches per game up for grabs in that Dallas offense. And that bumbling fat buffoon Mike McCarthy has talked all offseason about how the fact that he's not going to throw anymore. He's run. We scored last year, but we didn't score how we wanted it to. He's going to run the ball. Tony Pollard's going to get a lot of work. I had to fit in some insults at Mike McCarthy, even though I took a Cowboy.
He did the coolest thing for not having a job when he kept his core together and they were in a garage just playing fantasy football essentially, right?
He also
these guys what they would do, and it's weird, man. I wish I could keep that energy if I'm ever unemployed in my life.
McCarthy did the best thing ever. I mean, he did the classic. He lied about his resume. He was like, "Oh yeah, I've been doing all this studying. I got a PFF subscription." I've really been diving in. Then they asked about it at the press conference, and he's like, "Yeah, sometimes you say things to get the job."
So, Sean Bernard, I want to hear this process. I know Slash is on the clock.
Yeah,
you're like his basically his liaison here.
I did. I just gave him a call. I talked him through the players available. He's got 40 seconds with his back-to-back. He's going to take Derrick Henry and Devontae Adams. Mark.
Also, where I come from, the salesperson is supposed to make the most money. So I'm very concerned that our sales guy's car is broken down.
I want to know where he went to dinner. What was on the menu? What we have?
He said right now he's currently walking to get jumper cables. So that's the stage of where he's at.
Sheesh. Someone slashed his something. I don't know.
I see what you tried to do there.
Yeah, it wasn't very funny. All right, let's resume the draft.
Aww.
All right, and I'm going right back to the well. Last night I did a draft with the Edge of Philly Sports guys where I kind of hosted it, and I had the 10th pick. I'm happy none of you guys watched that because you could have just stole my picks here. But I'm going to go by the same well. I did Tony Pollard, A.J. Brown last night. I'm going to do the same thing tonight. I think A.J. Brown's clearly the best receiver available here. He had career highs in almost everything last year, but that's not to say that he hasn't been consistent. I mean, top 8 in target share each of the last 3 seasons. He's ranked no lower than 4th among receivers in yards per target, yards per route run, and receptions last year. So I love A.J. Brown this year. I'm sorry to, the Eagles reporter who wanted to start some stuff on Twitter today about, I don't even want to get into all that, but let's move on. I'll let Nick Pinecones get on that guy.
Is that your thing? You're the Jericho of the gambler. You're gonna Sean Barnyard and Nick Pinecones.
That's his name on Twitter right now. I think still.
Yeah. That's fine.
According to the,
I don't know how long it'll be there, but
the Giants fan.
I'm doing a bit, and we gotta rock it out.
Whoa, Johnny Jansen, Johnny Jets this year, maybe.
Ooh,
He
taking
loves
Garrett Wilson. I mean, it's
Jets,
not crazy.
I love that. I actually, I always go for Chubb. Hunt for the Chubb is like been my go-to name. So I think I'm gonna do it, guys. I hate to say it.
No, I mean Chubb's one
Not
of the
a bad
safe
pick.
players.
Yeah,
It's not terrible, but it's a safe pick, right? So, but when it was Hunt and him, Hunt for the Chubb, baby. That's what you got to do.
Chubb
In a 10-team league, I'd be very influenced to go wide receiver here. I love stacking the wide receivers early, but in a 12-team league, I'm going to change my strategy up, and I'm going to pick the best available running back, Josh Jacobs.
That's the right way to go, I think. Probably
Contract officially settled.
Who took Jeremy took CD Lamb. Yeah, that's a good pick there. And Tansy takes Amon-Ra. I feel like that is the end of a tier right there. I think there's a huge drop off. I don't think there's any bigger drop off in the draft than that drop off in the middle of the second round, where it goes from those elite running backs and receivers and Travis Kelce to now you can start even thinking about Mahomes and Allen and Hurts. You can start thinking about some reaches, maybe a rookie at running back. It really opens up in the middle of the second round.
Mark, do you charge like hype man fees? Like Sean Brace is my hype man usually, but I mean, you haven't said a bad letter
Sean,
about my picks.
Muted.
I would say my least favorite pick so far is Garrett Wilson with Jansen. I think everything
we're used to ragging on Jansen, regardless if he's or not.
He's easy to rag on. But yeah, I just think that's a little high. Like comparatively, he's not in my top tier. Like I think I would much rather Chubb, Lamb, Jacobs, Amon-Ra. And honestly, I'd rather Waddle, to be honest, as well, than Garrett Wilson. I just think so much with Wilson is projecting in a new offense, in a completely new scheme with a new quarterback. But I understand the reasons why. The one thing I'd say, and Shane Haff, my co-host on Chalk Talk, says it a lot, like Aaron Rodgers was a below average quarterback last year.
Schwarber just 1 yard.
Oh, there's got to be like a 7-second pause for me. I need a 7.
Well, I
need a 7-second
I have
delay.
cable, so I'm ahead of everybody.
Get up! Yeah, there's Brace. I realize I'm gonna try to keep. Yeah, it's working now, baby.
Did you guys
Burton
see
going Devontae Smith?
It's
the Irish podcaster that had to leave middle of his podcast? He better shit his pants.
Yeah, it's my buddy Brace. Lay off.
Yeah. You might joke about that, but when I did those overnight commercials for PC Richard, they put me in tan pants. I've never crapped myself before, but I was so scared that night that I would. And but it's also like, so why are you thinking about that? Like, so it's like I'm delivering these lines, and it's like, Mike, just don't shit your pants. And it's
my God.
But I would never. Like, one, there was no option to do that.
That is great.
Two, but why is that in my head the whole time? It was just weird. I don't know.
You get me in front of a camera and I think about crapping myself. Depends who's the audience. Sure.
Yeah,
but
I don't know.
That was ridiculous, man. I don't know what just happened. I'm like, holy shit. I'm like in trouble if I don't go right now. It's me. It's my turn. Let's go picks.
Taking Jalen Hurts here.
There's a quarterback. Here it is.
Jalen, wow. Yeah, I think
Brace's audio lame too. Is that just me or?
Yeah, it's a little off.
Yeah, it is.
Well, I will change it up. So Hurts just went.
I do think Jalen Hurts will be the number one fantasy QB this year. I'm not saying number one in the NFL, but I think from a fantasy perspective, the QB sneaks and the goal line rush, the threat of the rushing touchdown for me is just too much.
Yeah, I mean, the 4 points per touchdown definitely helps Allen and Hurts in the Mahomes argument. To me, they're dead even. Like, I think they're basically projected dead even for me. I would take Mahomes. I think he's the safest of the three still. But, yeah, it's not a crazy pick at this point. It's a little earlier than I'd go, though.
It's fair. Bernard, you sound great, by the way.
Thank you.
Just gonna throw that out there.
How do I
You're
sound now?
watching as a
Better?
professional.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're good.
You're better, Brace.
How am
You're
I?
also on the
How's,
clock.
how's, we're all
Oh
doing
yeah,
a
I
mic
see
check
that.
now.
I see that.
I know.
I
I know
I'm gonna
technology-
big each
thinking-
other up.
I know
I
you're
think I
still
gotta
a
go
16
quarterback
seed
here.
Yeah,
technology.
you could type in Taylor in that player search name if you're looking for Jonathan. You can just type him in. He'll come right up. He'll come right up.
I can't
That'll
go
be
Najee
interesting.
because that's what I deal with. Like, man, I had him last year and I didn't do well. So I
Everybody
just
hates Najee. Everybody hates Najee Harris this year.
can't do it. So am I going Mahomes and Justin? That's a lethal combination right
Lethal.
there.
It's lethal.
Where do I go? Fuck.
Got the best player at two positions there. if
It's
you
gotta
do,
be. Hey,
You got
I just
20
want to let
seconds.
you know that Roy Burton, our fantasy expert, said you got to ride Mahomes till the wheels fall off.
The wheels
And
fall
that's
off.
what we're going to do.
Can't go
Bang.
wrong.
Bang, bang. That was really tough. I'm telling you right now, I had to make a decision there. I wasn't sure if I wanted to go Mahomes quarterback because you like most of these. Tell me I'm wrong. The ADP, as they say, Roy and Mark and whoever else. Justin Herbert, 10th round, 11th round.
I think that's a little low for Herbert. ADP.
Yeah,
I think it's a little-
yeah. That's a little low for him. He's probably in
Yeah.
the 60s, I'd say.
Yeah.
He was.
yeah. He's probably 5th, 6th round somewhere.
So
Yeah.
if that decision was tough for you, take us into this because you got the snake coming around, sir.
Oh,
Yeah, you're-
Jesus.
Come on, man.
Come on.
Are you
It's
new
not-
to this?
I don't know. Yeah, exactly. I'm an idiot. That's all right. Here we go. Now, in my previous draft, like I said, I don't want to go. And that was something that hit me last year where I had two teams. I got 3 leagues that I cared about, and I didn't want to have the same players. So here we are. Oh, man. Look at this. Da-da-da. I'm
I have no clue what I'm doing next either.
looking at a rookie,
Hmm.
but I'm not going to bite. Do I go back? You know, he had a hell of a year, and that's the reason why I took him in the first place last year. Let's go back. Let's prove it. I believe in the team. Let's go. Oh, we hit the wrong button. Yeah, Najee. That's who I wanted. Let's go.
So Brace made my decision for me because I was debating Najee or Travis Etienne. I'm locking up Etienne here.
The ETN thing all comes down to how they use Tank Bigsby and if they start using ETN as a receiver like he was used at Clemson.
Right.
That's kind of those are the two X factors with ETN. The Jags just have so many mouths to feed.
Yeah.
Damn right.
They're going to be good this year. They're going to be a playoff team again, I think.
Absolutely. I'm more confident they'll win their division than I am any other team in football.
Yeah,
Will
we
win
talked
their
about
division.
that. That was brought up. Who do you have the most confidence out of all the division? And I still believe in the Birds. I still believe in the Niners, but it's really hard to weigh everything and look at that division and not say the Jags. It's really easy.
Yeah, I'm not even picking San Fran to win that division.
I know you got the Seahawks winning a bajillion games this year,
I'm all in on Seattle.
setting the
For
record
the regular
with
season.
Dino.
13-4.
We got a question from Surfs Up 808. Eagles winning the division this year. Is that a question? Like,
Absolutely.
I think
Absolutely.
There's been some Cowboys chatter lately, but I do think
There's always Cowboy chatter.
the Giants are feeling themselves too. And I'm not feeling the Giants. Like I don't know.
How many wins for the Birds this year? 12?
I have 13.
Yeah, I think at least 12.
It's a tough stretch they got.
Yeah.
The back end. That's a really
is.
tough stretch.
It's an
I just
easy
think
start.
they should very well be 5-0, 4-1. Like in 4-1, like I would even ride with 5-0. But that I'm telling you, man, that home opener against Minnesota, I got the heart beating a little bit here. Not gonna lie to you.
Kirk Cousins is going to be lost when he sees Jalen Carter coming up his face.
The
See, they were
length's gonna be
getting
watching.
trade calls for Jalen Rager there.
Yeah. I'm sure they had to get a second phone to take all the calls.
Yeah.
Jalen
Ben
Rager.
Simmons wants to come back. Why not bring back Jalen Rager too?
By the way,
Oh,
compared to what's going on in Philly, I'm in. Compared to right now. Bring Ben
JJ
back. Try to figure it
Arcega-Whiteside
out.
is a free agent again. Let's pick him up too. Oh, God.
Man. Shout out my guy Greg Ward, got released today.
Yeah. Gotta love Greg Ward.
Legend. Jahmyr Gibbs a great pick by Arcaney there. That's
Well done.
definitely who I was hoping would last.
I was looking at him and I said, you know what, let's go with Najee. It was either Najee or Gibbs for me.
Yeah, Gibbs. I'm just not a David Montgomery guy. Like I think he's a Jag and not a Jacksonville Jaguar. I think he's just a guy. Like I think he's a body. I think the contract the Lions gave him was a joke. But I think Gibbs is going to end up being the dominant part of that backfield.
He's a beast. He's the beast. I say you got Detroit missing the playoffs. That division was really tough for me to nail down. I really do like Jordan Love, really do like the Packers. I want to give respect to Minnesota. I didn't think that I know the whole record, one possession, all that nonsense last year, but I still think it's a good squad, a lot of talent. But Detroit, they got something brewing. You can't turn that down.
But how many years have we said Detroit's got something brewing, and then
Correct.
they suck, right?
Announcement.
Like, it's just like I've been hearing that since like the Mets were good, and that's 2015. So I mean, people are like the Mets are kind of like the Detroit Lions. I was like, stop comparing the two because you're pissing me off.
They're not remotely close though.
Who?
The Mets and the Lions?
The Mets, Lions? I think
they crossed over to each other. I'll say like 2017, 2018, where the Lions had all this upset. They were going up, the Mets were going down. So in the trajectory, they like met up, like in a lot of New York media. So
I guess in that, but like the Mets actually have made the playoffs.
Fair. But like the Lions on paper always look good. And like everybody was like, oh, DeGrom, Scherzer, like blah, blah, blah. That's going to be great. And then, this year too, like, and it's just never pans out. Like even
I think the Lions have never had this much hype since I've been alive.
Right. I don't know. Like, Jeremy,
the Hard Knocks.
What other teams have they had that have been like, yeah, they've had Stafford at quarterback, but like, what did they have? What did they have around him?
Megatron.
Yeah, exactly. Like, there's always hope. There's always hope. And I'm tired of hope. You know what hope gets you? Nothing.
I don't even know if Lions fans know what hope is.
You're right. And welcome to my world, man. I was freaking 9 months old the last time the Mets won the World Series. So like
I'm an idiot. I just texted you. Is there a link to share? It's on YouTube, you dummy.
Yes. No, did I go on Facebook? No, I didn't. I went on Twitter.
Didn't.
I went on YouTube.
All right.
It's
Don't
fine.
worry
I'm
about
sorry. It. You're trying to distract me from
You ain't gotta freaking apologize.
I always apologize. Corey yells at me for that.
No.
By the way, speaking of baseball, all of you had Luis Rengifo to hit 2 home runs tonight, right?
Absolutely. It was all over, Luis.
By the way,
I cashed Bryce home run tonight. I didn't even react to that when that happened.
There we go.
Used the DraftKings odds boost on that. Shouts out.
By the way, all of you should bet Acuna to hit a home run tonight to get that 30.
Damn, I like that.
Did you see him get tackled yesterday?
He was this close to his second one last night in the ninth.
Do you see the fans?
I'm going to do it, and I'm only doing this because it's not coming. I'm doing it.
That's a great pick. He's the best player available.
That's a hell of a thumbnail right there that we just shared.
What was the thumbnail? Who shared it?
It's just good. No, because it popped up with the question. Surf's up 808. We got the crew. I'm all leaned back. All right, nice. I like that. Cool.
It is very apropos that Jansen picked Calvin Ridley as we were talking about our bets for tonight. So I appreciate that, Jansen, even though he's not paying attention whatsoever and will not watch this back.
He's like a Jag. I'm in.
Bryce is a maniac.
Oh yeah, if he's even like remotely attached to Trevor Lawrence.
Bernard, you want to give Slash a call?
Yeah, just gave him a ring. He has not answered yet.
He gets
hopefully he closes a deal with AAA for all of us.
What's the best available? Let me ask you that. What's the best available?
I'm struggling here because I feel like I had a little bit of a drop off there. I'm looking at a couple receivers at the top of the board. You have T. Higgins, is ESPN's
he's got to go back to back too.
Best player available, and then Amari Cooper is close. I'm up right now. But okay. I was trying to milk the clock a little for Slash. But
I would agree. I would agree with those two guys. Higgins and Cooper are probably the two best guys on my board right now.
Yeah, I'm going to let ESPN auto draft for Slash and just give him a running back and a receiver because he has a running back and a receiver already. But I'm going to go ahead and take T. Higgins, who's the top player on the board. I'm not even necessarily the biggest T. Higgins guy. I feel like I actually think he gets helped a lot by being across from Jamar Chase instead of the opposite way around where he's being suppressed by Jamar Chase. But in that offense, you got Joe Burrow throwing him the ball. I feel like that gives him a really high floor. So I'm fine taking Higgins there.
Hey, Brace, next time we have like a production call or something, can we change the tough cover to the soft cover?
Ooh.
Kidding, Mark.
Boom, 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 boom.
I had that written in my jokes for tonight. I had to put it out, and I felt that was the right time. But everybody, tune in to the Tough Cover Show every Saturday.
I like
see
it.
Barnyard, right? He's there too now?
Yeah, Barnyard. Bernard.
Oh, you said it right. No, we play it every Saturday at the store, and you guys do a great job. So.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I still say Sean's name wrong on my show, but
I know, I love it.
I'll figure it out eventually.
Yeah, it's great. Also, like, we were texting, and I was like, Sean B has that, and then Brace was like, no, I don't.
Yeah.
And I was just like, all right.
And they're
All right,
both
Slash has made
SEAN.
his selections.
Slash
He will
made
take
selections.
Debo and Keenan Allen.
Oh, okay. You went double receiver. All right.
Double receiver.
Watch
He must be
Slash win
watching,
it.
and he's like, I'm not listening to what you just said.
He now has the jumper cable, so he's making progress on the car here.
Hell yeah, Slash.
Jeez, God bless him. That sucks.
Yeah.
That absolutely sucks.
Yep. I call up AAA and be like, yo,
Same here.
I need you.
Or just crash the car and call Top Dog. No, I'm just kidding.
I'm going to do the same thing. I said I was deciding between T. Higgins and Amari Cooper there, and T. Higgins has a really high floor. Amari Cooper's finished every year of his career between 14th and 21st in receiving in fantasy points at the end of the year, which is just remarkable consistency. He doesn't have the ceiling you'd want necessarily, but I feel like pretty good about my other two receivers, so I'll take Cooper.
Dun, 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 dun.
Oh, man.
I was saying last night, I do feel like drafting online and doing it in these draft rooms has made fantasy football a little less fun because you get less of the crazy picks out of nowhere, or like a guy completely missing that someone was hurt, or a guy completely just missing the news on a player. Like that used to be fun back then.
John Jensen's only made 3 picks. Don't say that too soon.
That's true. People drafting out of magazines from May. Yeah,
exactly. Yeah, the pre-rankings make it a little bit easier because like you said, like guys aren't scrambling for those that tight end who's actually tight end 3 on his team.
Yeah. I had a 1 year where this guy took Hakeem Nicks with the first pick of a draft. Hakeem Nicks, he was like a second rounder at the time. Like,
it's kind of BS though, because it kind of ruins it. Like, I couldn't get mad at the guy for going Mahomes. He was like, I'm not gonna have a pick for next. He's like, I want to live with Mahomes. Like, all right, cool. I mean, he actually ended up with a decent team. I got it right here. Hang on.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, let's talk about the reverse, where like somebody just stumbles into like a championship team, and you're just like, yeah, that shouldn't have happened. So, I'm on
Christian Watson from Jansen. I like that pick there.
I like that.
Christian Watson was wide receiver 4 after week 8 last year, I believe.
Wow. I have no clue where I'm.
This is who the guy took when he drafted Mahomes 1. He went Mahomes, ATN, Harris, McLaurin, Evans. Jesus. I hit the wrong button. It's tough for me to even see this right here. Pickens. I can't even read this. I don't even know. The picture's all blurry. Ingram, Tony, New England, Boswell, and then Warren. I don't even know the hell.
Jalen Warren. The receivers are tough on that team. Yeah, it's tough to live with those receivers on that team, and that's where you kind of you don't have Justin Jefferson, so that hurts you. You could get a quarterback that you'd feel a lot better about than probably McLaurin or Evans, relying on pretty rough quarterback situations there. I know that Roy is a Sam Howell truther though.
Hashtag How Hive. I just want you guys to know. Use the hashtag all year. Sam's gonna be riding over the NFC this year.
Damn. How Hive. I like that.
I've been surprised by how much buzz Sam Howell seems to be getting. It feels like you're not alone in that corner, Roy.
He's looked pretty. I mean, I know it's preseason and they're playing against backups, but he looked competent.
Yeah,
and with those skill position players around him, I mean, I think all you need to be is competent. I mean, you don't need to light the world on fire. I think Washington, they're gonna be all right this year.
Yeah.
I'm believing the preseason height with Stevenson over at in New England. So Tampa, sorry. What the heck? What is?
No,
you picked Rashad White.
No, I'm sorry. Yeah, I picked White from Tampa.
You're right on the preseason hype, though.
Exactly. I looked and I assumed that was still my pick, and you were quick. He's auto drafting CM Punk, right?
Who's auto drafting?
Yes,
Tim?
that's
Jeremy.
Yeah, that's why. I looked up. I was like, what? I didn't pick Stevenson. So my bad.
He made his first 3 picks, and then I don't know. I guess he auto drafted.
His phone must have shut off, or something. Yeah, probably a Q, right?
Yeah.
CM is a punk. Wrestling. It always comes back to wrestling.
All right, so since I haven't gotten a hype up in the last 2 picks here, Mark.
Wait, I need to keep it.
So Alvin Kamara, I'm taking him. I already took him. Thank you, all of you. Thank you. On behalf of my fantasy team.
Well, he's got a 3-game suspension. No, right?
That's 3 games. How long is the season?
Yeah, that's fair.
A hell of a lot longer than 3.
It's a good pick at that time. I was looking at him and I was just like, I don't know. I didn't have a running back that's going to be there from day one, so I went with who I went with.
My whole thing is, look, he's what, top 5,
Fair.
10 running back in football. Actually has a competent quarterback this year. It's too hard. It's too hard to pass up in that spot when you look at what else is out there. I mean, look, Rashad White. Yes, can you believe the hype? Sure, but what is Tampa's offense going to be?
Well, to prove that it's hype, the second I didn't realize it was still my cue, I forgot I changed the freaking name. So it's complete hype for sure.
But I look at the running backs that are available, and Ramondre Stevenson. I mean, I think we all know he's going to get vultured in some capacity by Ezekiel Elliott. And what is it? 4-6 points is can be the difference some weeks. And then look, James Conner can be really good, but who's handing the ball off to him? Who's blocking for him? He could be James Conner, but what is around him to actually help him succeed? He could run for just 40 yards and barely score a touchdown in the first 4 weeks.
I am with you. There is the other side of me that would say fantasy value can be derived even on some of the worst of teams. There are some bad teams that still put up some numbers, and somebody's got to put up numbers. That's where I'm at with Rashad White. I think he's just going to get so much work that I'm choosing to believe that he will have an average running back 2 or flex option type of season. But I do think his upside is Waller
because
limited.
The fact that I just know how the Giants suck so much that the tight end might get most of the balls thrown to him. You know what I mean? It's just
Waller,
with Conner though, it's
targets in the preseason.
If you're an opponent against the Cardinals,
exactly.
You're stacking the box. You're putting 8-9 bodies in the box because the Cardinals just have a warm body at quarterback, and it might not even be a warm body. It's Clayton Tune or Josh Dobbs. And it's just come on, man. I think the biggest lock of the century of the millennium might be week 1. They're playing Washington, right?
Mm-hmm.
James Conner under rushing yards. That seems like a really obviously the number probably isn't out yet, but if that's anywhere around 60, 70 yards with Washington's front 7, that's got to be one of the biggest player props. I know some people will think reverse psychology and he's the only guy they have take the over, but if he's the only guy they have and Washington's going to stack the box, what use does he have in week 1? I feel like that could be a really a really easy pick to make in week 1 from a player prop perspective.
Sean Brace made a pick here that I think is interesting. I'm not I'm probably agnostic. Like I'm in the middle on DJ Moore when it comes to the fantasy value because he is so clearly wide receiver 1 there. What I would say is I thought I was going to be really in on the Bears this year, but the reports out of training camp is that they're blown away with DJ Moore and they've never seen a receiver like him. And he's been the best player on the entire roster. If DJ Moore is the best player on your entire roster, you got some problems.
They haven't had a receiver like him in 10 years.
It's true. And the fact of the matter is he's probably not a top 15 receiver in the NFL. Like,
I mean, they had the lesser talented St. Brown brother. They had who else? What other?
Brandon Marshall was probably the best one.
Yep.
Yeah,
you're right.
Allen Robinson's probably the best one they've had in the last 10 years.
Marshall's probably over a decade.
The amount of guys they've trotted out there that are just like, who are you and why are you not on a practice squad? Like, there's a reason why the Bears have sucked for a while. But yeah, DJ Moore. I mean, he should go off, and they should be. Wow, he's that good because he is. The problem is sometimes he just doesn't show up.
I don't think he's that good. I think he's fine. I think he's he's like the 21st or 22nd best receiver in football, which is good. Like, there's a lot of good receivers. Is really kind of what I'm saying there. But I will say some of the Bears traded down and got their wide receiver 1. It's like, if he's your wide receiver 1, I don't know.
First off, I love that voice. If you could do that more on the air,
I do. I feel like I do voices
wide
like that all the
receiver
time.
1.
Marky Puck.
Welcome everybody to the Tough Cover Show.
Yeah, Bernard's got to put up with my voices.
Get
the Marky Puck spit.
I do. Yeah, I do the Michael Buffer. I do the Marky Pucks.
I love it.
So, just want to go over these last set of picks. I feel like who's the Saturday anchor on the draft? I'm like the junior varsity version.
Daniel Jeremiah.
Yeah, no. I'm like the junior varsity version of like Steve Levy here. So we got Chris Godwin goes to Luke in round 4 P8. Mark Andrews after that to Roy. Deontay Johnson to Tim O'Keefe. Alexander Madison to Sean Bernard. Brace goes back-to-back with Darren Waller and Mike Evans. And Tim O'Keefe from the Cloud takes James Cook.
Cloud.
Brace took DJ Moore and Darren Waller back-to-back. I took Mike Evans. Yeah.
James Cook's. That's a hefty price to pay for James Cook in the beginning of 5th round. I feel like that's the nicest way I can put it. I just don't know if Buffalo and Kansas City is where I'm looking to find running back value.
Yeah.
I hope they sling the hell out of it his way. Somebody said it. I think it was Powers with Waller. I mean, you can only throw the ball so far with Daniel Jones. So
so true. So true.
Give it a shot.
I mean, did they make any significant improvements at wide receiver, right?
Oh, they drafted Jalen Hyatt, who's been getting crazy buzz.
Yeah. Who was a stud in Tennessee. Yeah.
I loved Jalen Hyatt. Yeah, he's a guy who I actually think should have went in the 1st round just based on pure speed. You can't fake his speed. Like, you can't find his speed on trees. So, but there's concern about how he'll deal with presses. They've got like 6 wide receiver 3s.
They got a ton of guys. Yeah.
Yeah, Wan'Dale Robinson, Sterling
a ton of guys
Yeah.
doesn't exactly mean
the way New York media is talking about the Giants is like they figured out Moneyball. Like, it's like
they might have.
I don't know, man.
Hey, you didn't figure out Moneyball, but giving Daniel Jones that contract. Right?
Yeah, and not Barkley. Like, Barkley's the best quarterback on that team.
The thing I'll say about that is they handled the Barkley thing perfect. They won.
It did work out. It worked out.
Like
no sense though. But also, situation. Like, can we talk about like he's on a Zoom call like we are right now with all of his buddies? It's like we all got to get paid, and then he signed that deal. Like
that Zoom must have been so bad. He's like, I need to get out of whatever these dudes are talking about. It's like, I need to go like take
meal at this point. Just get me
I need to go take a couple $100,000 and like call it a day. Like, these dudes are idiots.
And then everybody like tries to make logic of it, like, oh, maybe he can't get franchised next year. Or they said they wouldn't. They're gonna franchise tag him. Are you kidding me? Like,
Burton takes Lamar.
Two
that.
years. 2 years as a running back is like 10 years as any other athlete.
Yeah.
So it sucks. He's gonna die a giant.
Roy, are you buying in on the Todd Monken offense in Baltimore?
Oh, I got Lamar and Mark Andrews, so I think the answer's there for you. I think it's there.
Damn, I didn't see.
Is Baltimore
nice work?
Oh, Slash is in the draft now. Look at that! Wow.
There we go. Car's fixed.
if this is the non-fantasy question, is Baltimore a Super Bowl contender? Going around the room. I would lean no.
I'm leaning no.
They're
going to get in a lot of shootouts, I think, and they're going to lose a bunch of games that way. But I'm going to lean no.
Do they make the playoffs?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, they make the playoffs. Yeah,
I think they get a wild card.
Yeah, AFC is so top heavy though. I mean, like
that's the problem.
Their win total. What was the Ravens' win total?
I think it's 9.5. I think it's 9.5.
Okay.
Yeah.
I have them at 10.
I can see a world where they just. I mean, you have the Dolphins and the Bills. You get the Chiefs, the Chargers. Look, they stink once they get to the playoffs, but they'll be in the mix. You say the Jags win the South.
I was going to say this. I thought it was 10.5, and I'm seeing 10.5 right now. I thought I saw 10.5. I thought that was a little too high, but
it's a little rich.
I like that. Perfect word.
It's a little rich.
The expectations are there, and I get it, but I could see them losing a couple games and staying under 500, like that 8-9 record. But
if nobody takes a step back in the AFC, like what's that 7 seed between? Is it between what the Jets, the Ravens, the Steelers?
There's a lot of teams.
Like if we're just operating under the assumption that it's Buffalo and Miami out of the East in some capacity, the Bengals win the North, Chiefs win the West, and the Chargers are in there, and somebody has to win the South by default, as always. Like you have a 7th team. Is it the Jets? Is it the Steelers? Is it the Ravens? Like, because I don't see anybody else in that. Like it drops off very fast.
Real quick. I'm going to run down the 5th. I feel like picks came in pretty fast there after Lamar. Joe Burrow went to Luke Arcani. Terry McLaurin went to Joe Tanzi. Tyler Lockett to Nick Pacone. DeAndre Hopkins to Jeremy. Mike Williams, which that's I love that pick. Mike Williams to Powers. I also love the Miles Sanders pick to Jansen. Those are the 2 guys that I probably would have taken had they lasted to me here. Actually, I couldn't have taken a receiver, but I would have considered him anyway. I'm going to go ahead and take a quarterback who I haven't gotten a share of yet in fantasy this year, so I'm excited to draft him. In my opinion, he should be QB4 in 4-point per pass touchdown leagues. This isn't real fantasy. It's fantasy football. Or this isn't real. I
fantasy.
I ruined all of that. I ruined all of that. I can't do 3 things at the same time here, but I'm taking Justin Fields. Whatever.
What is that?
It's not real football. It's fantasy.
Is that some movie
football,
magic? What is this? All right.
Brace has got props.
I got it all over here. No, so you know what this is? This is to go spotting, right? Up the country, whatever. But I'll even take it up another notch, right? So my wife bought this like 2 years ago. I was sitting on the beach, right? It was like midnight by myself. And I'm like, I wish I had a spotlight. Boom, brought this. I saw fins out there, all that shit. So I'm going spotting at the beach.
Yo, I was gonna say we should do a clip where it's like me and actually I have a lot of acreage here. I'm not bragging, but you should be like trying to find a Met fan, and I'm deep into
it.
Splash taking Herbert.
For everybody, this doesn't work, so you're lucky.
Oh, no.
No batteries.
Have you ever done that on the radio, Brace? Like with
what,
the megaphone?
The megaphone? No, I used to have another one. We used to pull it out all the time in this
Stern
studio.
A lot, right? Or,
yeah, he does his mother's voice. Well, I want to tell you, Howard. Yeah, it's always on the microphone or always on the megaphone.
Love it.
You don't want me with a megaphone in iHeartRadio.
We should get that thing like Kane used to use and Mark Henry do it.
My name is Sean Brace.
I've seen Sean Brace with the megaphone. It's quite the scene.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Justin Herbert, what are your thoughts on that, Sean Bernard? You're a big fan of his, right?
See, I don't want to get it confused that I don't think Justin Herbert sucks. He's just been crowned way too quickly.
I agree.
That's fair.
Agreed.
You want to crown him?
He's thrown in the same mix as the Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen, Jalen Hurts tier, and he just hasn't earned that yet. He's never won a playoff game in his life. He's 25-24 career record. He's good, but he's just not there yet.
I mean, he probably won't win anything. He plays for the Chargers.
Fair.
Yeah.
I'm going to take a guy I don't even like here, but I just have to take our second running back, and he's a starter, and he's been, remarkably consistent even when Kyler's been out. So I'll take James Conner, and I'm going to go, puke in the bathroom about it real quick.
So, I know we talked about him earlier. Obviously, week 1, it's a really terrible matchup with Washington. But, when you look at the Cardinals specifically, because they're going to be really bad.
Yeah.
Like really, really bad. Like what fantasy value? Obviously, we know James Conner, and maybe there's going to be a few games where like wide receiver X decides to show up, and is it going to be like a Greg Dortch game? In like week 11 on Thursday Night Football. But
I mean, Davis Mills was like as bad as you'll see an NFL quarterback be last year, and Dameon Pierce was a really fantasy relevant running back.
The Cardinals haven't even named the quarterback yet.
Right. Like
they're not going to be.
How do they project for someone who's like outside this bubble, like what, like tuning in and getting their fantasy drafts done? They see James Conner. He's obviously been a name that's been there forever.
Yep.
But like Arizona
puts up numbers too.
Yeah. So like, would you advocate for or against him because of what's going on with the Cardinals?
That team
my tight end, so I took his.
I wouldn't advocate for him, but it is the 6th round. I think there's always a time where the price comes available. I wouldn't take him.
Price is right, bitch.
But take draft position out. I'm talking about his like fantasy outlook for the season.
Are you ever going to play him DFS for whatever week? Are you ever going to use him DFS?
Nah, I don't think ever.
He might. I don't know. He might be a good price. I don't know. You might get him at a good price in the right matchup.
Hey, here's the question. You ready? Yeah. I don't know where you're going, Mark. Here's the question: where's Kyler Murray end up next year? Because
Minnesota.
They're tanking for Williams.
Mm-hmm.
Minnesota. I like Minnesota. But James Conner last year when Kyler Murray was out with Colt McCoy, go look at Colt McCoy's numbers when he was playing. He wasn't very good. James Conner averaged 20 points per game last year in fantasy in the game.
Right, that's what I'm saying. Like if you look at project him out for a 17-game season, like how does he look to your casual fantasy owner? Is he still worth it? Or because the Cardinals are very clearly tanking, like what is the actual outlook on James Conner?
I have him as RB21. I think he'll finish in that 15 to 25 range. And the problem with Conner is I think he probably has absolutely no top 12 upside in a similar way to Dameon Pierce last year. Like he didn't have that upside to break into that top tier because you're not going to have those big weeks because you're not going to score enough to have those big weeks. But there is a floor there due to his level of talent on a team that's lacking talent. They're going to have to use him. Is kind of where I'm at with that. I have him as RB21. And I don't think I'm necessarily all that high on him compared to the industry.
Tansy's got an interesting pick right here. I see the guy that
I like that pick.
Yeah.
Of course, Jansen got Trevor Lawrence. That's the most predictable pick in the history of sports.
Nice work.
It's a good pick, this long.
Yeah, it's a good pick at this point.
So the guy is still on the board, and when he's going to be selected, it's going to be, I'll bring it up. But there's another guy that I had last year that I can't get out of my head because he didn't deliver. And I took him pretty early, too, if I'm not mistaken. It was like 3 or 4, around 3 or 4, I forget. And it's like, I can't get these thoughts out of my mind that they just poisoned my team last year.
Right. So that's the thing. Like, I think just in general, like, have there been guys in the past, like, do you guys have like specific guys, like good or bad, that have like won you guys seasons, or you'll just absolutely stay away from for eternity because they've ruined your fantasy? Like, I feel like that's one of the things that a lot of people become attached to. And I know, look, obviously us on the inside, we know in and out everything, but like what from past seasons is, and do you stick with those guys? Do you stick with your ride or dies, or do you have to take a step back and actually have the realistic conversation with yourself?
I feel like I drafted shady every year.
Like I remember vividly Derrick Henry like winning a league for me in his rookie year when he was just a monster, and it's like Derrick Henry is forever good on my page because of that. Like I would take him whenever. I was picking 2 today, so I didn't want to take him that high. But if I was like 5 or 6, I probably would have pulled the trigger on Derrick Henry.
Like who else are your guys? Like who's your like number one like ride or die fantasy guy?
I would say it's an easy one to throw out there, but I would say my all-time number one guy that won everyone a championship the year he did it was Todd Gurley. I mean, what Todd Gurley did down the stretch of his breakout year was he won. I think he was the highest percentage at the time. This is like 8 years ago. At the time, there had never been a player in the modern ESPN fantasy football system who had been on a higher percentage of teams that won their league's championship. That's how important Todd Gurley was to own that year. And I think I had him in 2 leagues, won both championships. Mahomes, his first year, won me a championship in a keeper league that I've been able to keep him ever since. So I know Eagles fans don't want to hear nice things about the Chiefs or Patrick Mahomes, but I'll always be a Mahomes guy because of that.
My guy was always Rudy Johnson.
Rudy. I loved Rudy.
Rudy Johnson.
Oh, if we're going back to that, it's Maurice Jones-Drew.
Yeah. No, this isn't like like you've played fantasy football for more than 5 years, I assume. Yeah, no. Who's been your ride or die for like Rudy Johnson? For me, my buddies used to give me crap all the time. Like, oh, Rudy's on your team again? No surprise. Like he was. It just happened to be a thing like 2 years in a row. But then it turned into be like, oh, I'm just gonna keep the pick going. Yeah, there were a few guys like that. He's the one that stands out the most.
Some of you have met me. I'm a short guy, so I've got to put on for my short kings. Maurice Jones-Drew is my all-time guy. I've got the MJD jersey up in the closet. MJD's one of my all-time favorite athletes across all sports.
Mark, I took your guy, Jerry Jeudy here. I'm excited to bring that up on a weekly basis.
I'm just hoping he's healthy, because I think if he's healthy, I'm standing by everything I've said. The problem is with hamstrings. We've seen those reoccur for guys. That's the concern. And hopefully he just comes back when he's ready and he's good to go and he plays the rest of the year and it's not a concern again. But man, hamstring, I guess realistically he got carted off. If you would have told me like it's his hamstring, not his knee at that point, I would have been like, okay, that's a good thing. But yeah, it could be tricky. But if he's healthy, I absolutely love him. He's got top 5 per week upside. He was wide receiver 22 while missing 2 games last year in the worst offense possible with the worst quarterback play in the NFL. So I think it can only go up.
So let's get the experts to chime in here. We are in the 7th round of our Gambler Fantasy Football Draft. There is one guy I see in our queue who is projected ranking in the top 70 that's still around. And we all know who that is. It's Jonathan Taylor. Obviously, it sounds like he's not going to start the season playing in any capacity, but we know when he's on the field, he's such a dynamic player. So I'll let the experts chime in here. If you're drafting the Jonathan Taylor situation, do you even touch it, or do you let somebody else make that mistake in your league?
So as the expert, no, I'm just kidding.
I think now.
Yeah, no, I think you wait on Jonathan Taylor a few rounds. I mean, I think you get, make sure you're solid at running back and wide receiver and quarterback before you take that leap. I see, I guess the best analogy I guess we have is Kamara, and because Kamara's missing 3 games, and right now his ADP is kind of like 6th round-ish, early 6th round-ish in most leagues. But he's missing 3 games. Like Taylor's missing at least 4. Plus, he's probably going to need a couple games to get ready wherever he goes, whether he comes back to the Colts or not. Fair. So I can't imagine you draft him before the 8th round, I would guess. I probably wouldn't take him, but if I did take him, it wouldn't be until at least round 8 or 9 at the earliest.
Yeah, I'm probably in the same boat, and this is a little specific, but if I was in a league, like my main league is incredibly active. It's free agent budget. It's really hard to acquire new players of any value. You can only really get a few throughout the year. If you're in a league that's incredibly active and the waiver wire is really competitive, Jonathan Taylor might not be the best option. But if you're feeling like 7 rounds through the draft, kind of like Roy said, you feel good about some of your spots, you feel like you've killed the draft, Jonathan Taylor's a nice little home run swing to take there in the 8th, especially if you're confident. If it's a league that you think you're in with some bozos who aren't going to find the free agency fines out there on the waiver wire, you think you're going to dominate the waiver wire. The Jonathan Taylor swing, Alvin Kamara swings like that wins you leagues.
Yeah.
Now, how much of a swing is Alvin Kamara compared to Jonathan Taylor? Because we at least know come week 4, Alvin Kamara is going to be on the football field.
Yeah.
Right. So like, how do you measure those two? Is it even a fair comparison?
Right. Yeah. I would compare Taylor to how I felt about Odell Beckham Jr. for the last 3 years. I'm like, I'm going to draft him. Nobody knows he's there. He's injured, blah, blah, blah. You draft him your last pick when you got nothing else to go. Taylor's closer to that than he is to
The thing that gives you hope with Taylor is there's a chance he gets traded to, say, the Dolphins, and all of a sudden is a running back one for your team. And to get that right now is crazy. But there's also the chance that he literally doesn't step on the football field. So
right.
Big time boomer bust there. I gave it some real thought with this pick, but I ended up going safe. Took J.K. Dobbins.
So looking at the running backs that are available here in our 7th round, so it's kind of remotely around where you guys would even take a risk on him. You have Khalil Herbert, A.J. Dillon, DeAndre Swift, Brian Robinson, Antonio Gibson. Like, these are guys that obviously aren't going to win you fantasy leagues, at least on the surface won't, but may, at least in like a week or two, put up some big numbers. Like, how would you approach this? Now, this is our draft specifically, but Jonathan Taylor's there. He's clearly the most talented running back left on this list, and the numbers are getting scarce. You know you're going to need some depth at running back. What do? You
should draft him.
Yeah.
No, I mean, look, I don't know. I thought for sure that the Indy was going to give him like a Josh Jacobs deal, they said it still might happen, but who knows? He could still be hurt. He could be actually hurt too. I mean, it's just crazy right now.
Yeah, I think by being on PUP, I think he's actually legit hurt. I don't think they'd put him on the list if he wasn't hurt. So that's why I'm a little bit gun shy on taking him kind of early.
I texted Roy as soon as that news broke today, and we both went, "Wow!" I wasn't expecting that at all.
I knew they weren't going to trade him.
Those kind of picks, though, is where like you win and lose fantasy, right?
Yeah,
like,
like you can easily lose your league.
Time. Like 2013, Julius Thomas, I picked him up like on the waiver wire because nobody else. He explodes. 2014, I draft him way too freaking early. He sucks. Next thing you know, he's on the Jags and he never did anything again. So, it's just it's tough. You look through this stuff and really it's the picks that are going to be made in that 3rd or 4th week, and whoever's up in the waiver wire that's going to decide who actually wins. So
I want to be selfish here. Let me get Roy and Mark to grade that pick that I went back to back. Montgomery and Cook. I looked at Christian Kirk. I don't know, something rubbed me the wrong way about Kirk. I read something about him that I was like, eh. And then was there anybody else I was looking at from the running back position? Maybe Jamal Williams. But no, not really. Your thoughts on Cook and Montgomery back to back instead of a receiver? I didn't go receiver. I was definitely looking at a receiver. That's what it was.
I'm not a fan of either player, but the situations are really good. So it's hard to parse that. That's kind of always where fantasy and real life intersect a little bit. But I feel better about Montgomery than Cook. I think Cook is fully cooked. I've made that declaration.
Wow. Jets are so excited to have him.
The underlying numbers last year, his expected yards were really bad. Like Madison outperformed him on an expected yards basis in Minnesota last year. Dalvin Cook just wasn't very good. Like I just don't think running backs don't find it in the tank generally. Like it usually goes pretty fast. So I'm not the biggest fan of Cook. With Montgomery, I think Montgomery's just a guy, but I think Jamal Williams might just be a guy. And Jamal Williams was incredibly productive for fantasy last year in Detroit. So Montgomery could be really good. It honestly all comes down to how good Gibbs is.
Yeah, I think that's part of the draft. I think you're good. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Do you guys think Breece Hall is actually good? Because that was my room for optimism with Dalvin Cook. I'm not a Breece Hall guy.
Breece is a beast.
Breece is good.
It just comes down to if he's healthy. Right. That's the whole conversation. He's a beast when he's healthy. I mean, last year, what did he play? 6 or 7 games. I mean, he was going to be offensive rookie of the year over Garrett Wilson without a question.
Yeah, he was RB7 in terms of fantasy points per game last year. So he's really good. But like you said, like we have no idea if he's 100%. But if he is, he's a top 10 running back.
And that was with Zach Wilson.
Yeah.
So Mark and Roy, talk to me here. We got a few. Actually, one new face of this wide receiver group in our queue, in Jackson Smith and Jigba. He's projected rank here 85 on ESPN. Obviously, everybody's got their own rankings, but we're about to enter the 8th round here. You have DK Metcalf and Tyler Lockett with the Seahawks. We know what they do. Geno Smith, the quarterback. So you got to spread the ball a little bit with Jackson Smith and Jigba. What's the outlook on him at wide receiver? Being the third guy, this third weapon in the Seahawks offense.
It's one of those situations where you hate to. I'm not rooting for an injury whatsoever here, and JSN just went down. But what happens is if one of those three guys gets hurt, you probably have two top 15 receivers. I think that's what you had last year with DK and Lockett. If one of those guys gets hurt, you probably have two top 15 receivers. If you don't, if all three are there, it probably is a situation where none of them are top 12, but maybe all of them are top 25 to 30.
Yeah, 30.
Yeah, that could be what we're looking at, and all of them are wide receiver 2/flex options. But how likely is it that three guys stay healthy throughout the course of a 17-game season? Probably not all that likely at that position. So I would guess that you probably get an injury from one of those three guys, and it vaults the other two into elite wide receiver status.
Now, Mark, let me ask you a question. Do you think Njigba takes more targets away from Metcalf or from Lockett?
I think from Lockett. I know that's kind of a fantasy argument. I feel like a lot of the fantasy heads out there, everyone's always going to love Tyler Lockett. He's outperformed his ADP in every single year.
I love I love him.
I know you love Lockett. I do. I don't find myself drafting a lot of DK or Lockett, to be quite honest. I find myself kind of targeting other guys in those ranges with DK. I find myself taking guys even like an Amari Cooper, like Williams, like a Brandon Ayuk, even over DK. And you could say that with Lockett, I'm probably preferring the tier that involves guys like Drake London, Christian Watson, Keenan Allen. I'd probably prefer those guys. Is that an Alex Bohm
Let
reaction?
me know if it's my turn to draft. Setting something up for the big boss man.
Oh, I'm up here too.
Nice.
I didn't realize. By the way, Deshaun Watson.
Bet on Alex Bohm tonight.
Deshaun Watson to Jeremy. That is a terrible pick. I know it's an auto draft, but
yeah. So let's go to that one too, because he's obviously a guy that has put up a lot of numbers in the past. We've talked up Amari Cooper. Deshaun Watson, what's his fantasy outlook in 2023?
I wouldn't touch him with a 10-foot pole for two reasons. One, fantasy football is supposed to be fun. I don't want to root for that guy in any capacity.
Yeah, if you win that off of him, like you kind of feel, I don't know, dirty.
I hope he goes down in flames. Yeah. I hope he has the worst season in the history of the NFL.
Yeah, well, wait, if I actually won with them, I wouldn't complain.
Hey,
right. So
that's a different story.
Thing. Like, is it
Brown tactic?
Are you all about winning? Or are you? Is your moral compass like that's something people are actually going to debate? I don't think it's the right thing to do, but people are actually going to debate that thing with Deshaun Watson.
With all love and respect, if I need a quarterback for a bye week and he's doing good, he's going to be my starting quarterback.
Well, that's a little different than being like it's the 7th round and all these quarterbacks are available and they're all kind of close to each other. I'm going to take the monster of a human being. Like that's kind of where I come from.
He also was objectively bad last year. Like he was a bad quarterback last year.
And by the way, real quick, I'm winding down. I'm gonna take Evan Engram. He's one of my guys this year.
This is when you start picking like your favorite people. You know what I mean?
I love Evan Engram as a value. I think he's gonna finish right in the same range as the Hawkinsons, the Andrews, the Kittles. Like I think he's gonna be right in that top 5 consideration at tight end. What he was down the stretch was one of the best tight ends in the sport. I think Jacksonville's going to want to replicate everything they were doing down the stretch.
So we're looking at.
I almost said there's levels of bad with Deshaun Watson. It's so terrible.
It's like the Joe Mixon thing. Like the one podcast I was talking, I wasn't even mentioning his one in the past was very bad. Where his one from college is all time. Historically
right on video
bad human being behavior.
Well, but everybody talked about that draft. I mean, you had to make that decision because you knew he was going to be a good running back.
Yeah, but I was even referring to like he had the menacing charge. I'll use a different one. Alvin Kamara had he assaulted some. They got an assault case and it was some dudes. And the one podcast I was listening to was like, well, no one cares about Alvin Kamara. It's like, well, guess what, man? Like, a dude assaulting some guys is not going to be like, it doesn't get the juices flowing in terms of like hate and me not willing
he did it in Vegas. Yeah, he did it in Vegas. you know, and he
That's not even America.
Jansen in Vegas. It sounds like
That's like a normal. I mean, James Harden does that between playoff games.
Dude,
Like,
you should have saw what I saw this past weekend out there. So that's all I
I can
know.
imagine.
So we're hopping into round.
Proud
We're
of you
hopping
guys.
into round 8 here. Jonathan Taylor is still our best guy available. The best available doing my McShay here in our
You are
draft.
selling us on that shit.
I am not. You guys can do whatever you want. I have Damian Pierce and Alvin Kamara, and I'm going to draft somebody else probably in the next few rounds at running back. So you don't have to worry about me. I'm not asking all these things to get your opinion.
No, I know, but it's
it's good.
We can get some
Selling
social
me on
media
that
clips.
Used car. I mean, the
our
fun of
best
this thing is, I guess my cue was good because you all picked it. So
Tansey's doing a good job hosting this.
our
I'm
best-
all the way
our-
off the rails.
Our best available are Jahan Dotson, Jackson Smith, and Jigba, who we just talked about. Sky Moore, we asked earlier who plays wide receiver for the Chiefs. Sky Moore absolutely does. Khalil Herbert, Brian Robinson, Antonio Gibson just went to John Jansen.
I just took DeAndre Swift as well.
I will mention, I know we talked about guys that we like and have like a personal connection to. David Njoku is one of those guys to me at tight end. I just end up with him every year.
Big dude, man. He's a beast. He just caught a
he's
touch on that exhibition game.
He's a big dude that underperforms every year. And I still think this is his breakout season. Him and Evan Ingram are both going to have breakout seasons for the 15th year in a row.
Well, you know what? Once a month, he has a great DFS game. Like it's one, you never know when it's coming, but once a month, he'll break out like a 22-point game.
And that's always
enough to keep you like
him.
he could be good. Yeah,
exactly.
Out also as well, Cole Kmet. Actually, since we talked about one rookie receiver, let's talk about another one, and then I want to get your thoughts on two other veterans guys. Jordan Addison, the stud from USC with the Minnesota Vikings. Adam Thielen no longer with the Vikings. Where does Jordan Addison fit in your fantasy outlook, and what do we expect from him in the Minnesota offense?
I've got some fun Jordan Addison stats if I can find them here.
Of course you do.
Jordan Addison.
Oh,
Kirk
there goes
there it is.
Jonathan Taylor.
There it is.
Johnny
Who
T.
picked him? Okay, to
Jeremy auto draft. That feels
Auto
like
draft.
Of course,
that feels terrible. I was debating on doing it.
Point, it's
I was
fine.
going to create a shirt. I was going to write a shirt.
Nah, man,
Joe
that's a
Tandy
roll of
ruined
the
my
dice.
fantasy.
The auto draft is a roll of the dice, my friend.
very much is.
Could win him the
Sorry.
league. Could end up winning him the league. But with Jordan Addison,
I'll bet against that.
Kirk Cousins has had 2 top 15 receivers in 60% of his seasons. Adam Thielen just ran the 8th most routes in a season since 2011. Every other player in that top 8 finished as a top 10 wide receiver except for Adam Thielen. What that means is there is so many targets and routes available for Jordan Addison in that offense. He is my sleeper to win Offensive Rookie of the Year.
Well, thank you so much, Mark Henry. I just picked Jordan Addison.
It's a great pick.
Yeah.
It's a great
And
pick.
I looked at it, but I already had Jefferson.
Ooh, that could have been fun. You could have went all in. Go get Kirk with his mustache.
It's a regular season. I don't know how many primetime games they got, but you're right about that. No, that was
at the same time.
hello. I don't know if that would have been all that fun, but we shall see. I promise you this, on the other draft that I just had on Saturday, I did take Jordan Addison. I ended up with him pretty late too, so it was great. But I'm excited about that. You also said one other thing though too, Mark. What the hell did you say that caught my attention? I forget. You said something else.
All right, so we're going through. I'm going through this queue and just looking at some interesting names. Basically, it's kind of just dudes naming names at this point of the draft.
Like Michael Thomas
but
these names are.
You might be stealing my train of thought here.
I'm
so
sorry.
There's 2 guys, Michael Thomas and Odell Beckham Jr.
Yes.
So they've been hurt in the past,
Mm-hmm.
and they're coming off. God knows how long Michael Thomas has been injured, right?
Actually, 10 of the last possible 50 games he's only played in.
And then Odell Beckham Jr. is coming off this torn ACL. And we're at this point of the draft where those guys look really intriguing
and he's
because
coming off an airplane near you. Sorry.
they're known quantities, guys. Where do you Where do you project? Do you draft these two guys? Michael Thomas and Odell Beckham Jr. have been fantasy goats in the past at wide receiver. Do you trust him again?
It's for the nostalgia. In my opinion.
I'm more willing to take the chance on Odell than I am on Michael Thomas. The thing that the Odell thing that I'm buying into a little bit is just how effective he was for the Rams when he did come in there with kind of similar injury issues. But aside from that, Lamar Jackson has been campaigning for Odell Beckham to be on the Ravens for 4 years. The dude's been doing it since he was leaving New York. Like, I just think that even if Odell's not what he once was, I think Lamar might force feed him the ball. Like, I know people love Zay Flowers. I know they love Mark Andrews. I think it's quite clear that Lamar and Odell are boys. Not that he's going to be higher than Andrews. I think he's just going to get a lot of targets.
And I just want to say this. I think I read something 2 days ago about Michael Thomas, and he ain't looking all that good. I don't know what the expectations were there, and I don't know if hey, you want to take him, knock yourself out. But a few tweets that I read, and I'm trying to find it right now, is that he just looks like a shell of himself, and essentially you shouldn't have expectations for him. Now we'll see. Maybe that's sleeper.
That's exactly what I would say if I wanted Michael Thomas.
Exactly.
With the nice hype up for Mark Henry Jr., I will be taking OBJ. I do believe in it for all the reasons that you said.
Damn, I was looking at him.
Yeah,
it's a good pick.
I've been
I think
talking
he's got
about
more
him.
in the tank, and I'm excited to see Lamar with actual weapons. I agree that he loves Odell. I think that there's going to be some very cool plays between the two this year. I'm excited to have him.
Yeah, I really,
good for you.
I think behind Andrews. I think if he's healthy, I think Odell's probably gonna be second in targets on that team. I mean,
I agree.
He's going to get the ball like a lot this year.
Who would you rather have, Tua or Danny Dimes as your quarterback?
They're actually two guys that I like for fantasy, especially
they're
for
not
4
bad.
points per pass TD. Tua's my QB8. I think Tua is someone who I would love to grab, and then you make sure you get someone like a Danny Dimes, which is what I did last night, actually. I drafted Tua. And it's funny you said that because I drafted Tua and then got Danny Dimes as my backup to be safe in case Tua's brain gets scrambled again.
Yeah, exactly. I only ask because Corey's a Dolphins fan, and he's so anti-Tua. And I'm a Giants fan. I'm like,
Tua's elite.
Like
Tua's elite when he plays.
Wish.com.
Tua's elite when he plays.
Oh, I agree. I agree. And the fact that he still wants to play is impressive because I'm pretty sure even if he played in the WWE, they'd tell him like, yo, stay home, bro.
Now, listen, if I was a Dolphins fan, I'd have a hard time getting ready for the season where it's just like we have all this in front of us. We have this whole roster. I know Tua is really good when he plays. I trust the coaching staff. Like, he made all these exciting adjustments, but you know that it's all over in just like his head snapping back into the ground in week 7. Like,
done.
I don't know how I would handle that as a fan. So when I hear like, oh, I'm a Dolphins fan and I'm out on Tua, I understand it. Like I get it if you're a Dolphins fan, but when he plays, man, it's hard to deny he's a top 5 fantasy quarterback pretty much.
He took some jiu-jitsu classes this summer though, so apparently that's the
He's gonna fight off the receiver.
Still couldn't jump on that ball. He looked terrible.
Yeah.
Ridiculous.
I think he also found some interesting websites, and I'll leave it at that.
Hello. I am going, and you know what? Why not? Let's go.
Wait,
dude cashes in at the goal line, so
he does.
Need someone in the flash, I might roll with him.
The benefit of Jamal Williams is hypothetically he should be an elite option for the first 3 weeks. With Alvin Kamara suspended, Jamal Williams probably a top 15 option at running back.
Fair.
First couple of weeks, unless Kendrick Miller is as big as he could be. But I think for week 1, like people putting out week 1 ranks, I think he'll probably be a top 15 running back for week 1.
I got one for you guys right here then. Najee Harris, Montgomery, or I just drafted Williams, who you start with name 2.
Well, it's funny. I think you're starting Williams over Montgomery for sure for me for week 1. The question is, do the Jets really use Dalvin Cook in week 1 with Breece Hall coming off the injury? They could kind of slow track Breece Hall and use Dalvin Cook a lot. I would lean Williams though.
I'm gonna go into some of the guys that aren't talking in their drafts. Like so of course Jansen went with Trevor Lawrence. Like I could have told you that. Like as far as like the sun coming up today, I could have told you that he was
minus
going
350 in Vegas.
Yeah, he's got Barkley as his number 1 running back.
Decent.
Johnny G-Men?
Yeah, Johnny G, man.
Miles Sanders, running back number 2.
Damn, he got Saquon and Miles. That's a nice tandem.
Garrett
Turn out.
Wilson on the Jets. Sorry.
I thought it was early, but he's solid.
Jancy got all these players?
Yeah, Calvin Ridley, Jags
like
again. And
All right,
then,
Jansen.
Christian
I like
Watson.
his team.
Christian Watson. Yeah,
I
he's
like
got a
that
great
guy.
team. Low key.
That's
Yeah,
my
I do
guy.
like that team.
When you're listening and not participating.
Tell me what Pine Cones has got. What's Pine Cones got? Pine Cones. Pine Cones is cutting up audio. He's got no time for us. Pine Cones is like, yo.
Totally is.
See, look at him. Look, yeah.
He's the best, man. You gotta love that. Josh Jacobs, he has not selected a quarterback yet. Just throwing that out there. So Pine Cones has Picone. I can't call you Pine Cones. I don't care what anybody.
Yeah, Picone.
He does too much. You got to put respect on that name.
Respect on his name.
Even for the divide.
Quarterbacks are overrated.
Nick, I owe you a lot, man. Josh Jacobs, Kenneth Walker.
Oh, I love that. I
Yeah.
love Jacobs and Walker as a pair.
Cooper
I think I
Kupp.
have that in a league.
Cooper Cup. Great name, by the way.
Thank you.
Who's coming to dinner? Cooper Cup. That's who's coming to dinner. Tyler Lockett. That's a good one.
Yeah, I like this team.
All right,
TJ Hawkinson.
I'm about to do something you guys may think I'll regret
Uh-oh.
at the quarterback position.
Daniel Dimes.
No, I'm not that stupid.
Tua.
Dakota Rain.
All right, I'll give you guys all a
Dak?
guess.
You're not doing Dak. You're not doing Dak.
Which quarterback am I taking right now with this pick?
I think it's Dakota Rain Prescott.
It is absolutely not. That would be the dumbest decision. Who?
It's either Kirk or Richardson, and I'm gonna
He's taking Aaron Rodgers. He's taking Aaron Rodgers.
Nope. None of you guys have guessed it yet.
I'm gonna.
Russ.
I will guess Geno Smith.
Wrong.
Russell Wilson.
Russell.
You're damn right it is.
Wow, Broncos country.
Let's ride.
Let's ride, Joe Tansey.
Is that your first quarterback?
I am buying the upside.
Mr. Unlimited.
Wow.
He's back.
Get
Yo,
those
you know
high
what's so
knees in.
funny? When I was flying, I was actually thinking about, imagine if I was sitting here and Russell Wilson was just doing exercises up and down his flight. What would I do? Like, I was his teammate. I literally was just thinking about that. So
That's
stupid.
scary.
I totally forgot about that. Oh my god.
I'm buying the upside. Like he's got an actual coach. There's actual structure with Sean Payton. You know, Nathaniel Hackett obviously didn't work out. And look, he can't be worse than last year.
His ass is gonna get benched week 5. Watch out.
Who for who?
Stidham, right? Is it
I don't
Stidham?
even know, but
Exactly.
I think he's
For who?
cooked.
I think
think
Stidham was
he's
balling in the
cooked.
preseason.
Russ is cooked, and Peyton's gonna lose it. Watch.
Yo, I've been ever since I heard Sean Bray say this on the radio, like who eats at a Subway? I keep looking in the
Russell.
Subways now to
Yeah.
see if people are there. They're not. It's like Arby's and Subways. They have to be drug fronts.
They're fronts.
Russ,
It's
Russ,
like,
yeah,
it's like,
he
it's like,
puts
it's like those
stuff
mattress
away.
places. They're all drug fronts.
I think Sean
Yeah, the
Payton
mattress.
is
Yeah.
just such a genius that I think
Oh,
Russ
he
will
is.
be.
I know.
I think Russ will be a top 16 quarterback in fantasy. That's where I'm. I know Sean Bernard, big Russell Wilson guy this year for fantasy.
Yeah, I'm gonna buy the dip guy as well. I wouldn't say I would have taken him right here, but I don't hate it as much as I guess I think your
I'm
expectation.
doing this only because like we talked about him. I'm doing it.
Go ahead.
Michael
That's all we
Thomas.
got. If that's all we got to do to get you to pick guys, and
Yeah.
That's
Man, I,
Hey, how good Marcus Mariota look?
I,
Did
I
you
can
hear about
tell,
Quez
I can
Watkins?
sell you on Greg Ward so fast.
Yeah.
Trey Sermon, man, he's gonna get picked
yeah.
up.
So since we kind of just
Adam Thielen. Like let's just go nuts. Not just go.
so let's knock around some thoughts on the quarterbacks that are left here. So guys that have been around for quite some time, and I'll lump Russell Wilson into this. So you got Russell Wilson, Aaron Rodgers. Let's throw Matthew Stafford into the mix as well, and why not Kirk Cousins as well? Because these are guys that have been around forever. They're all familiar names to everybody. Realistically, so let's I guess have a power rank here, if you will. Aaron Rodgers, Kirk Cousins, Matthew Stafford, Russell Wilson. Power rank them 1 through 4, and why? Who out of that group should be drafted first in a fantasy league if you're looking for a quarterback?
For me, Kirk by far one.
Yeah.
like not even close to the other two for me. Then I have Russ 2 grouped with Rodgers. Like I think Russ and Rodgers are kind of neck and neck. I would take Russ. I'm a little more optimistic on Russ than Rodgers on the bounce back. He's not pushing 40 years old. And then I don't think Stafford.
I think
he's gonna be awful this year.
I think he's cooked. I mean, his
Yeah.
wife. You know what's
his wife said in that
yeah.
podcast?
You know what's a
Yeah,
you know what's a great way to guarantee you
His wife went on a podcast and trashed him?
You know what the best way to guarantee you won't connect with your teammates is? Have your wife go on a podcast and talk about how you're not connecting with your teammates.
Yeah.
That's a really good way to do it, Matt Stafford.
We got to set that up. The wives come in.
No.
I'm not a Matt Stafford guy.
No,
he's
brutal. Hey, I'll tell you right now, I'll just say this. I would take Rodgers above Russ, without a doubt. Kirk. Now, I thought you were going to throw Dak in there, and Dak would have made it a little bit more interesting because I would actually think about Dak or Rodgers over Dak.
Really?
Man.
Kirk has finished QB 13 or better in 7 of his 8 years.
Yeah, you got to go Kirk 1.
He is.
And then I would probably, I'm telling you, I think I'm going Rodgers. I believe in like Rodgers getting his groove back with that team. He's committed right now. And look, he struggled last year. I'm going to blame it a little bit on the hand. It was definitely out of character for him. Sailing balls. He threw 3 interceptions against the Lions the one game in all red zone picks, if I'm not mistaken.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't think that happens this year. Dude is dialed in from the darkness. I like Rodgers this year actually to bounce back. So I would go Kirk 1, Rodgers 2, then Dak, and then Russ.
My take on Rodgers is I'm 27 years old and I'm not feeling as good as I was a couple of years ago.
And you get 42.
Yeah, that's my point about Aaron Rodgers. I'm 27, but
Jeez, God bless you.
What I'd say about Aaron Rodgers is I don't think he's just going to miraculously turn back the clock to when he was 32 years old. The dude is
listen,
old.
son.
Have you done ayahuasca? Have you done ayahuasca?
I'm on it right now, Roy.
Darkness retreats keep you young.
Exactly. Go to darkness retreat for 3 days and then come back, and then we can talk about this.
But I will say, I think from a real football perspective, I'm more optimistic on Rodgers than from a fantasy perspective. He's not going to turn the ball over. Like for the Jets, like he's going to be. It's funny to call Aaron Rodgers a game manager, and I'm not going to say that's what he's going to be. But if he doesn't take the step back to being Aaron Rodgers, he can be like a higher level of a game manager.
Well, that's the thing, right? Like we all witnessed Peyton Manning win a Super Bowl with gloves on and handing the ball off. Like that's all he did. Like, like Aaron Rodgers, the Jets have put everything.
Jets got a good D.
Aaron wants whatever Aaron got, right?
Yeah.
And the O-line is the only question mark.
It's a big one.
And that's a big question mark for sure. I feel like.
By the way, do you see the score is 8-4? God, this team's on fire.
Not for long.
If only there was someone at this radio station who all along had just never given up on
cue,
this
Roy.
team. And
get out of here! Who gave up on him over here? Not me.
I'm not.
Phillies? I don't think any.
What are we gonna revisionist history? What the fan base was saying about the Phillies a month and a half ago? Are we gonna do this?
I'll give you were Mr. Positive. I'll give that to you all day. You're right.
Sean Brace asked the question when we had an 80% chance to make the playoff. The headline on his show was, "Are the Phillies good? Are the Phillies good?" And I responded saying they've won X amount of X, they've done this and that, and Sean Brace went, "With all due respect, Mark, nobody wants to hear that." And I understand.
Yeah, I was gonna say. So he did his job for 3 hours and had to entertain.
I understand no one wants to hear that. Maybe it's not entertaining for me to not freak out, but the team's good, and it's been obvious they've been good all along.
Dude, like, look, the Philly captain just bought a refrigerator off me today, and we're talking about how much fun it is to be in Philadelphia right now, like on all levels. But like also like we related the Mets to the Sixers, and like so he was sharing.
Oh, the Sixers are true.
Yeah, how being a Sixers fan is like being a Met fan. So
all right, enough about the Mets. I'm tired of the Mets.
I was defending you.
All right. So, anyways, listen up. As Mark calls me out, you know how difficult it is to come up with a damn sentence that even makes sense in 5 minutes where I'm logging in and shit.
No. I
was like, he's got 3 hours to entertain you.
No, that has nothing to do with that. Believe me, that's the first literally like when we sit down and it's a fire drill and I go log in and I'm like, are the Phillies good? But that was a good one because they ended up choking that weekend. So yes, you're right. 162. I get a little crazy. Never did I think that they were not going to make the playoffs. Never have I once, true story, not thought that this team could win a World Series. There wasn't one time.
Yeah, I've been there the whole time. And what I always was saying was, and Bob Wankel, who's a great Phillies follow, he's always one of the guys I have on a lot. And he's been tweeting all August about how improved the team's been offensively. And they're averaging like 6.8 runs as opposed to like 4.8 the rest of the year. And you can point at that and say, look, they're 16-9 in August, and this is really impressive, and they're scoring all these runs. What I would say was it's even more impressive that they were doing what they were doing when they were a league average offense. And I think it was always obvious that Bryce Harper wasn't a 750 OPS hitter. Like, Bryce Harper was going to be Bryce Harper eventually. Like, I just never bought into the fact that he was never going to recover his power throughout the year. The dude came back like 2 months early.
Yeah, I definitely didn't see this type of heater in August. I won't lie about that. Did not think that the power was going to be there. Still thought he's going to be a phenomenal player, a guy that you want at the dish, bottom of the ninth, 2 outs. But I didn't think the power would be there. He's definitely surprised me on that one. But this team, the long ball, and once they started grooving, you knew that this is man. You think, like somebody said the other day, you think the Dodgers want to play the Phillies? You think the Braves want to see the Phillies? Hell no.
No team in baseball wants to right now.
No. Pretty funny there, by the way. Dak and Zeke went back to back there in the 10th round.
Wow,
like the good old days.
I did take Zeke. I needed a fourth running back. I think if Ramondre gets hurt, he's going to get a ton of work.
That freaking trade pissed me off by the Cowboys. We did a 3-hour show. We could have used anything to give us a little juice after 2 nights out in Vegas, and then all of a sudden that trade goes down an hour after we're done. I'm like, are you kidding me right now?
By the way, everyone's praising the Dallas Cowboys and like, oh, what a buy low opportunity. That's what loser organizations do. They made a big splash. They were like, oh, the big sexy quarterback that was the 3rd pick. Dude's never done anything in his career to suggest that he's anything worth trading for. And people are just saying, oh, it's a 4th round pick. Who cares? 4th round pick is not nothing. What did the Eagles trade for DeAndre Swift? It was probably less than a 4th round pick. They drafted Eli Ricks. In that range, like 4th round pick is not, and I'm a draft nerd, so I'm always going to, not want to give up draft picks, but like that trade is so stupid, especially when you consider the fact that Cooper Rush did fine for them last year as a backup. I don't get it at all. And also San Fran, bitched and moaned to get 3 quarters.
Hey, I'm not a draft guy. You said Eli Ricks was drafted. He wasn't drafted, right?
Or not? Was it not Keely Ringo? Yeah,
Keely Ringo.
There we go. You didn't mean him. Yeah, I'm like, wait a minute.
Thank you for correcting me.
I'm excited that he got an opportunity. I'm like, what else could that kid do?
He's awesome.
He looks like a baller.
We have so many young corners that I'm getting them mixed up in my head. We got Joe, we got Ricks.
And you know what?
They kept them all too.
I went to CBS and I trust like Jeff Kerr's there. He does a great job. And he's like, probably not going to make it. I'm like, damn, dude, like I'm not a guy that wants to get buried into a 53-man breakdown. That's not me.
No.
I'm like, that dude jumped off the screen. Give him an opportunity.
Had the pick 6. He was popping all over the place. And I'm happy they kept. And he's got like a track record. Like he was the real deal at Alabama. He was a toply regarded recruit. Like he's that kind of guy. So I'm very happy that they're keeping him around.
Ricks just he had bad tape against the best receivers in the sport at Alabama. That's what it was. People overreacted to it and freaked out about it, but he was really good at LSU against really good receivers. So,
and then all you got to do is motivate somebody like that. Yeah, all right.
The traits are obviously there. Like I think it was just one of those things he didn't fit the Saban.
Oh, speaking of Alabama and speaking of motivation, like put everything you got on them winning a championship with that nonsense. Yeah. Of everything that they were talking about on College Game Day, right? They picked against Bama, and it's like,
what? You mean Georgia? Georgia, yeah. They all picked Bama,
yeah. My bad. And I'm like the last team that needs motivation is Georgia. Like everything, even though they made it up with what wasn't it Nolan Smith that said it? Like they were picking against us.
Yeah. Oh my God, yeah.
It's like, dude, just give Georgia the championship 3 in a row right now.
Anybody curious to hear what Slash has drafted since he's on?
Oh yeah, please.
Slash, I think he's been drafting most of it though.
Yeah, it's not bad. Yeah, he's off auto draft. Quarterback Justin Herbert. Derrick Henry, Brees Hall, Devontae Adams.
He happened to get all the guys I don't
Yeah,
like.
this is a
Debo
great
Samuel.
Shit. Fryermuth from man.
Yeah. Thanks for saying that.
And this is a great draft. Why am I loving everybody's draft?
Keenan Allen.
I'm biased, so everyone has guys that they're obviously higher and lower on than consensus. He happened to get a lot of the guys that I'm lower on than consensus. Like Herbert and Dak, I'm a little bit lower on the QB rankings. I have Herbert like QB 10, and I have Dak like QB 13. So I'm not quite as high. I'm a little bit more nervous about Brees Hall having a kind of a bad ACL second year. Devontae Adams.
So mad at what you just said.
He's a stud. Brees Hall's so good. If he's healthy, he'll be a beast.
Yeah.
But Devontae, Jimmy G scares me there. Like if he's not pummeling the ball and just giving him the target share that Adams needs, I don't know if he's going to be as elite as he needs to be to justify that pick. A lot of mouths to feed for Brock Purdy in San Fran, and Debo was the worst one of all of them with Purdy last year compared to Kittle and McCaffrey and Ayuk. He was actually the fourth option. Freiermuth, Steelers, a lot of mouths to feed. Deontay Johnson, George Pickens, Najee Harris, Pat Freiermuth. Is Kenny Pickett going to support all those guys as fantasy relevant? So it just so happens that I didn't like a lot. I love
fire,
but Henry, I like the Henry pick. I like the Keenan Allen pick. I love the AJ Dillon pick. And where he got Dak was fine.
It made me feel better when you were like bigging up my picks now because like you just trashed all slashes.
Yeah, man, that was great. Cut
that.
That.
Bring up
that
someone
really
else that isn't here. I'll be mean to them. Bring up Jansen. What's Jansen got?
Oh, did we talk Jansen?
No, we talked Jansen. We
Yeah,
talked
we did
Jansen.
Jansen, yeah.
Bring up Arcaney. I'll do Arcaney here.
Luke.
We got
Devin Singletary. He's a guy that I always ended up with the last like 3 years, I think. I'm not driving that right off.
Tansy sniped me by taking Dalton Kincaid. I had him eyed up as my tight end. I don't know what I'm doing now.
Kincaid. So many balls down the line.
You're damn right I did.
Yeah, well done. Well done, sir.
This is what happens when you watch college football.
Yeah. Smart man.
Dude.
It's 70 receptions.
Tansy, I was pretty good on that podcast we did. If we're talking picks, I made some money this weekend.
Tansy, besides like quarterback, which college position translates best to the NFL?
I have no clue. But
it's running back.
Sure, running back. I don't know, but they don't have a shelf life. I mean, obviously the wideouts have done pretty well. I honestly have no clue. I'm no talent evaluator. I just gamble a lot.
I think offense is easier to learn.
Cut that. That was good. I almost went Hunter Renfro, and he was on my team last year.
First question I asked Tansy.
I know. I'm at 18 seconds. I'm nervous. I'm going to make a bad pick here.
Brace.
If you listen to the college football preview podcast, which will be on YouTube, we'll be playing over the Gambler Airwaves. You should hear week one is just kind of like a feel.
Rashad
really
Penny, that's a homer pick.
Nice. Where are we at now? Pick 120.
Right.
I think
you're all going to say it's not a homer pick. You're all homers.
I have Penny ranked overall. Where 110.
I actually have Rashad Penny is my RB 31.
He is my RB 36.
I appreciate you taking my joke incredibly serious.
I knew it was a joke, but I knew it was a
to hear the
joke. But
number.
I took my own.
And what number did I take him at? Is how do you know what running back he is right now?
I'm not keeping track of that.
Round 11, pick 4.
Probably like 40 running backs gone.
He's probably like 3 or 4 off the projected ADP I had for him. So not bad.
No, it's fine.
I got nervous. I was thinking about Renfro, and I'm like, screw him. He cost me last year.
Yeah, I don't even. He's not a.
Every time I hear Renfro, I think like, "Wow."
Angels just cut him.
They signed Jacoby Myers. That's a good joke there by Sean. Jacoby double Hunter Renfro for the folks that don't know that out there. Vegas Raiders and formerly Los Angeles Angels. But Hunter Renfro, I feel like he kind of got his spot taken by them signing Jacoby Myers.
Yeah.
Who's going to be kind of a heavy PPR guy there.
Yeah.
Jacoby Myers, who helped the Raiders get a win last year against the Patriots with his lateral. And now
one of the most ridiculous things we've ever seen in an NFL game.
I had Patriots money line in that game.
Oh, jeez. Wow.
In some
I think
capacity.
my buddy was at the game. I had a friend that was at that game. Yeah, it was in Vegas. Yep.
Who took Aaron Rodgers? Did I miss that?
That was Tim O'Keefe. Yeah, there's still some good quarterbacks on the board.
Yeah, what's the deal with the rounds? My Saturday gig only went 13. This one goes 17. What's that?
13. I don't understand that. This is the ESPN standard. This is just their
I
standard
thought it was a
roster.
little short. Yeah, I mean, I'm
13 is crazy to me. Yeah.
There's tons of talent on the waiver wire.
13. That's like 3 people on your bench.
Yeah, you need Roy to look at that league and see what you could pick off.
Oh, believe me, I was already texting him. I was already texting him.
It's awesome. Yeah, Roy,
all 3 of them go off the board there. I wanted one of them badly as a backup. That's brutal. Richardson, Gino, Daniel Jones right off the board. I have them as my number 9, 10, and 11 quarterbacks overall. So them getting drafted in the 11th round, I think that's a great value for all 3.
Yeah, I think the quarterbacks kind of drop off a cliff after that.
Yeah, they
like
do.
The remaining guys.
They really, really, really do, and I need a backup still. But
Matthew Stafford was in the Super Bowl a couple of years ago. Like,
I'm just worried about his back.
He's cooked.
Yeah,
he's cooked.
His back's cooked.
Doesn't speak to millennials.
Yeah. I took him off my draft board because he's
well done, Sean. I'm proud of you. Cut that up. Because you're the guy that's going to probably cut this off.
Taking a look here. Do I need any handcuffs? Nah, not really.
Oh, you kinky mother.
I like that. Yeah. That's funny. All right, I'm gonna take him. Even there's just he's the only quarterback left that I would even feel at all comfortable.
Stocko Yard. Good God.
This
team is mashing.
I'm taking Goff. I think that offense has just got so much. I mean, Ben Johnson did such a good job calling plays for them last year. I believe he was. I think he was QB 11 last year. Jared Goff. No, QB 10. He was QB 10 last year. 29 touchdowns, 4,500 yards.
Yeah, 7 picks.
7 picks. Yeah, I mean, he was so good last year. I don't know if he'll be that good again, but I do think he'll be a top 16 quarterback. So I feel good about him before a huge drop off there again. And then I'm going to go back to I'll go back to the well, and I'll take Jalen Warren. I'll take a little handcuff for Pittsburgh if Najee gets hurt or if he really stumbles. I think he's going to be a nice little addition there. John Jansen with the comment: Trevor Lawrence going to get me to a chip. Good luck, losers. I mean, I'm just happy Jansen's got a team he can root for. He's got Johnny Jags on there, Ridley and Lawrence. That stack. Jansen, I mean, he's all over Jacksonville.
He got his guys.
He does. Phillies 56 home runs in August, 10 more than the next team in Major League Baseball.
Wow.
Whew.
Dude, this squad, bro. This squad, I mean, my phone is just lighting up right now. We're going to the game tomorrow, so it's going to be fun.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Live daily ticket in Ashburn Alley. Like,
believe me, if we can make it, it's it's so behind as far as technology is concerned. It's ridiculous for a state-of-the-art studio we do have, but that would be incredible. And that would be one thing where it's like, that's next level. You just boop, boop, you're able to make it work from your phone, but you can't.
I remember, I don't know if you guys know the Trill Withers show on Underdog Fantasy. I'm a big fan of those guys. They used to be Mixtape at Barstool Sports, and they went to like one of the Cavs Warriors 2016 finals games, and they brought like, I guess whatever you guys would bring to the game, and they just like live podcasted like sitting, like they didn't video it. It was just like an audio thing they put out after, and it was the most insane piece of podcasting I've ever listened to. Like you just hear them get into conversations with people around them and stuff. It was funny.
Yeah, and definitely could catch you fine too, but you know, whatever.
Exactly.
No video.
I'm not going to share my secrets. All I got to say is that an email goes far. You just need somebody's email address, and they'll leave you alone.
All right.
Like, yeah, I got approval.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, Jansen took my guy.
No, they're now calling him at home to see if you got approval.
Jansen took the guy that I've drafted more than any other player in fantasy football this year, and that is Roshan Johnson. Roshan Johnson's been getting the third down looks in Chicago. I think there will be an incredibly fantasy relevant running back from that backfield. If Khalil Herbert stays healthy and he's the guy, I think there's a good chance it could be him. But if Roshan Johnson really breaks out, doesn't have any tread on the tires because he was Bijan Robinson's backup at Texas, despite being probably one of the 5 best running backs in the country. They had an embarrassment of riches there. He's got fresh legs, and he's an absolute beast, Roshan Johnson. So I could see him breaking out there for Chicago.
Jansen blowing you a kiss in the comments.
I love that pick. I do like that pick a lot. Isn't he like his traits are? I wanted to look this up, so I'm not giving fake information.
If any of you guys need running backs, by the way, you guys have my my number.
Roshan Johnson is 6. Oh, never mind. It's not as crazy as I thought it was. Never mind. I'm just not going to say it. It's not that crazy. But everyone, let's run through some teams in here. I mean, I don't think we don't necessarily have to stay on here until round 17. We could hop off early if you guys wanted to. But let's run through some teams. Sean Brace had the first pick.
Yeah.
Let's run through his roster here. He has Patrick Mahomes at quarterback in his running back room. He's got Najee Harris, Jordan Montgomery, Dalvin Cook, Jamal Williams, Rashad Penny. At wide receiver, he's got Justin Jefferson, DJ Moore, Kadarius Toney, Zay Jones. He's got Darren Waller at tight end. Let's go to Sean Bernard.
Dang.
He's got Jalen. He's picked second, so he had Jalen Hurts as quarterback, Christian McCaffrey, Travis Etienne, Alexander Madison, J.K. Dobbins, and Jeff Wilson Jr. at running back. That is a loaded running back room for sure. Wide receiver, there's a little to be desired for sure there. Mike Evans, Jerry Jeudy, Odell Beckham, Sky Moore. There's some risk involved there with Judy's injury, but if Jeudy wasn't hurt, I'd feel really good about this. Schultz at tight end, so we waited on tight end a little bit here.
Don't love that.
Schultz, the interesting thing about Schultz is we just don't know what Houston's offense is going to look like at all.
Yeah.
Like
I'm
Stroud
banking on a lot of duck downs to the tight end. That's
exactly. Little check down action. Yeah. You'll be fine. You'll be fine.
He was really productive in Dallas, Dalton Schultz. He was really productive in Dallas. Tim O'Keefe, Aaron Rodgers at quarterback, his only quarterback so far. That would make me a little nervous to only have Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers, who was QB 13 last year. I don't know if I'd feel great about that. Austin Eckler, I do feel great about his running back room. Austin Eckler, Joe Mixon, James Cook, Jerick McKinnon, Elijah Mitchell. That's really good. That's a really loaded running back room. Chris Olave, Deontay Johnson, Brandon Ayuk, Jahan Dotson, JSN. That's a loaded receiver room. And Kyle Pitts at tight end, which I thought he got at a really good value for Kyle Pitts. So, yeah, I like TKO's team there a lot, actually. The quarterback makes me nervous. Just having Rodgers would make me nervous. Roy Burton, we got Lamar Jackson at quarterback, Aaron Jones, Isaiah Pacheco, Brian Robinson Jr., Samaje Perine, Kenneth Gainwell at running back. A little bit of not a zero RB, but a little bit of like a hero RB format here with Aaron Jones and then a lot of other guys with paths to starting opportunities. But the receiver room is absolutely nasty. I mean, Tyreek Hill, Devontae Smith, Christian Kirk, and then KJ Osborne, Tyler Boyd. Mark Andrews at tight end. Yeah, that's a good team for sure there. Roy Burton, we would expect nothing less from our fantasy guy here.
Thank you, sir.
Where we go next, we read Arcane's team. Let's talk about Joe Tanzi's team. Joe Tanzi, we got Russell Wilson and Anthony Richardson. I will say it's too high upside swings. I mean, if Russ becomes Russ again, that's a value. And if Anthony Richardson's as good as he might be, the floor for him, just because of his rushing, might be incredibly high. At running back, he's got Damian Pierce, Alvin Kamara, and Raheem Mostert. That's a little shallow there at running back, especially since Kamara is missing.
I'm still here. Be nice.
Couple weeks. I am being nice. I am being nice, but I'm a little nervous about it. Receivers, a lot of receivers. I mean, you need to trade a receiver for a running back. That's my take. Amon-Ra St. Brown, stud. Terry McLaurin, turf toe right now, but he will be a stud if he plays, especially if Sam Howell is a top 5 quarterback like Roy thinks. I'm joking, by the way. And Drake London Drake London, if Desmond Ridder is competent, I think Drake London's a top 15 receiver. That's how talented I think Drake London is.
Very, very big if.
Really big if. I agree on that. It is a really big if. But I do think London has a high floor even with Ridder. That's how talented I think he is. George Pickens, similar conversation, just incredibly talented. Jordan Addison, I talked ad nauseum about how talented he is, along with the fact that he's got a great situation. I wouldn't have taken the back of tight end. You got Travis Kelce. You don't need Dalton Kincaid. I would have taken a running back there. That's my take. You stole him from Bernard though, so
you did.
That's a good. That's.
Hey, if you need running backs, man, you know where to go. Bring that up.
And then we have is Nick Picone. We got Tua at QB with Geno. Oh, that's one of my favorite QB 1-2 combos you can go with there with Tua Geno. It's actually my number 8 and my number 9 quarterback this year for fantasy. So I think he waited on QB. I think he got 2 top 10 options. So I love that. It's probably going to end up being my favorite team. Josh Jacobs and Kenneth Walker, Jamal Williams, Khalil Herbert. Yeah, he's taking a lot of my guys. Cooper Kupp, I thought that value was great. Tyler Lockett, I'm not the biggest Lockett guy because of JSN, but I think there's a really high floor with Lockett. He's going to be a fantasy relevant player. Like there's no scenario where he's not startable. So my question with Lockett would be the ceiling, but with this roster, I don't know if you need ceiling from him. Hawkinson, I thought went early, but you locked in a top 3 tight end at the position. I think Hawkinson's actually it's going to shock Roy Burton. He's my tight end too. I think Hawkinson, because you heard how high I am on Odell. I'm high on Zay Flowers. I think that Monken offense is going to be a little bit more based on the receivers than the last offense was. So I'm a little nervous about Andrews. I would actually prefer Hawkinson.
So who's not going to get these targets in Minnesota?
That's the concern. That's the
question. But you got Jefferson and Hawkinson and Osborne and Addison and
I think it's Osborne.
Madison's probably going to get 35 to 40. I mean, somebody's not going to get targets.
We all in.
I think Osborne's I would say Osborne's the odd guy out, and I don't think there'll be a lot of running back targets. I don't think Madison's a guy they'll draw up a lot for the receiving game as much as they would for Dalvin. So I do think it. I also not to like take the wind out of Sean Brace's sails. I wouldn't be shocked if Justin Jefferson's numbers came down a little bit from last year.
Yeah. It can only go. It can't go. It's like the same thing I said about Kelce. Although Kelsey's a little older, of course, still young though.
The thing with Kelce, he's got less mouths to feed in that offense.
That's
so I do think there's a chance that if the Vikings want to be better, they might want to opt to look to Addison and Hawkinson a bit more than they did last year. I'm coming up here, so if someone wants to read, I believe Jeremy. If someone wants to read Jeremy's team up next for me, that'd be great. While I'm picking between these trash heaps.
Oh, he's the CM Punk, right?
Yeah.
All right, so we. This is good. Deshaun Watson.
Nice.
He's got Bijan though, so Bijan strong. Stevenson from the Patriots. You got CeeDee Lamb, Metcalf, Kittle.
That's pretty good.
Hopkins, not bad. It's not bad. Steelers defense. He's got Jonathan Taylor on the bench, Njoku, who we discussed, Kirk Cousins. He's got Daniel Jones. Let's take a number of quarterbacks. Daniel Jones. He's got Kirk Cousins, and he's got Watson. And,
three's not that bad. Okay, I thought that was gonna be fourth.
And he's got Mooney, Darnell Mooney.
Oh man! Wait, he got Geno?
No, he did not.
No, he didn't get Geno.
He's got
man,
Bijan could be crazy.
Picone's gonna get a crazy offer for Geno. Jeremy's got a man crush.
CeeDee Lamb could throw up crazy numbers. He could easily be a top 3 receiver in the league.
Oh, yeah.
DK, what's DK doing? Is he getting the long shots? Is he getting the deep balls?
I'm a little worried, like what I said earlier. Like I think DK and Lockett both have a high floor, but I'd be worried about can they be top 10 guys with so many.
Kittle could give you a couple big games.
Yeah, for sure.
Hopkins, I don't know what the hell to expect in Tennessee. Did he get the most money to go there? Must have, but
he looked cooked last year too.
Jonathan Taylor on the bench. Of course, we all discussed that. Njoku, he's a decent option at tight end. I don't know what to expect. You better watch out. He's got Watson and Njoku.
Dynamic duo.
That's what it is. That's the connection right there.
When they talk about feared quarterback and pass catching options. I mean, Deshaun Watson and David Njoku, how are they not at the top of the list there?
It's funny. There is there's fantasy, and I'm sure Roy can speak to this.
Bro, did they hit another one?
Another one.
Trey?
Trey.
Oh my goodness.
He's so back, it should be illegal to be as back as Trey Turner is. I mean, it's insane.
He's just waiting. He just waited on that damn ball. That's a sweet swing, man.
Pitcher knew right away.
I was tweeting 40-40 club in the exhibition right around the World Baseball Classic.
You know, it might hit like
struggles.
He might get
like,
close to 30.
Dude's unbelievable, man.
What number is that for him?
I think it was 18.
Yeah, he's gonna get 25-25, which is hilarious. Like in this season, the fact that he's gonna be 25 homers, 25 steals probably is hilarious. If he got 30-30 in the season, it would be one of the funniest seasons.
We are bombers, man. This team mashes. This is awesome.
I'm gonna go ahead and take one of the. I'm gonna go ahead and take one of the best names in the history of football. One of the best names in the history of. It's just like. There's never been a name that describes a person more than this name, but Tank Bigsby. Are you kidding me? That's just a running. That's like that guy's gonna have a good career. There's no way Tank Bigsby is not gonna bulldoze for some yards in his NFL career.
How big is he?
He's a big dude. He's not like he's not Derrick Henry or anything, but he's.
I'd be very disappointed. What if he was like a little scat back?
He was one of those like big dudes named Tiny.
Yeah.
Actually, I saw both of them. Him and ATM were. I seen a picture of them together, like arm in arm. I didn't think he was that much smaller than him. I don't know how big Travis Etienne is.
6 foot 213 for Tank Bigsby.
What about my Tank? My guy from Houston Texans. No love for Tank Dell.
Oh, Tank Dell. So that is like the thing where he's called Tank and he's tiny.
Yeah,
that's like he's the opposite.
I'm trusting my eyes on that one. That dude had just some
dynamic
speed, and then he made that catch. I'm like, all right, don't play this guy ever again until the first. Because I was reading on one of those fantasy websites, they were like, yeah, don't buy into it. It's too soon. And they listed, of course, plenty of reasons why not to buy into a Houston Texan receiver. I'm not going to argue that, but as far as just a football sense, that boy can play, man.
Yeah, no, he was incredibly productive in college. I mean, he was insane at Houston. Nathaniel Dell. It was interesting. He I guess at the combine or at some pro day or something, he worked with CJ Stroud. And CJ Stroud thought he was just incredible. And when the Texans, settled in on Stroud and told them that they were picking him, and they kind of asked him if he had worked. They asked him about his opinion on especially the Ohio State guys, I think. And he was like, yeah, actually. He brought up Tank Dell. He's like, I worked out with this dude Tank Dell, and I was blown away. Like, I think this guy and I would have perfect chemistry. So the Texans went ahead and picked him. Not a great I think that's something that if the Eagles did that, or not I don't know, the Eagles don't need a quarterback, but the Patriots, if the Patriots did that, people would be like, oh, that's such a smart move. Pick the guy your quarterback wants. Because it's the Texans, it's like, who cares? That's a fun story and all. But
I love DeMeco Ryan. Who doesn't love DeMeco Ryan?
Yeah, he's the man.
I think he turns that defense around quick. I think that
the Texans are going to be better than you think. They're going to win 7 or 8 games this year.
Yeah, you think so?
7 or 8.
That's
7
a lot.
Or 8 games. 8 might be strong. 8 might be strong. I have them at 7. I have them at 7 and 10. I can't speak. I have them at 7 and 10.
Schedule again.
Well, guess what the schedule has? 4 games against the Colts and Titans.
Yeah, no, you're right.
I'm not high on the Titans, so that's part of it. I think the Titans are going to
Harper smashed dead center. Yeah, nothing.
I always think about this though. Like tomorrow they're going to lose one or win 1-0 or something because you got to save. I was thinking of Willy Wonka where she's like, save some room for later.
It's funny. My buddy said this the other day when they scored 12. Joe Edinger or whatever. I think they scored 12. Joe Edinger's a good follow. Phillies Twitter guys writes for the Good Fight. The Phillies are actually 15-12 in games after they scored 9+ runs this year. It's pretty shocking stat because you just think it would be you'd think it would be 5-20 because it feels like that. It feels like every time that happens, the next day they don't score that, but it actually hasn't been the case.
But also it'd be kind of sweet. I get it.
Carry them over.
Yeah, exactly. But also lose a few games before the playoffs start, and then have to you have to get a sense of
I'm going tomorrow. I hope they hit 15 more home runs tomorrow.
What time's tomorrow's game?
105.
Oh shoot! All right, that's awesome.
Is it Sanchez tomorrow? I believe.
I'm excited because the Mets are so terrible. I get to sit in the speakeasy seats. I was even
Nice.
telling Philly Captain about it. I was like, "Yeah, they invited me." He's like, "You're gonna make content?" I was like, "I think that's why they invited me." But yeah, it's all you could drink, all you could eat. You gotta like tap on Mr. Met's head, and
cool.
like they let you in.
Can you
It's
tap
pretty
on
great.
Mrs. Metz? Never mind.
Yo, you see that? That was viral. That went viral. That lady
Oh,
has a
boy.
booty.
Mrs. Met. I mean, I'm just saying, fellas.
Yeah, I'm saying she gets
Respectfully,
around.
respectfully. Yeah.
What did Mark Jackson say about?
With all due respect.
With all due respect, yeah.
I'd knock it out of the park.
Yeah, I knock it out of the park. No question.
It's been like that for a while too. Like I don't know. Like
Oh
I
my
deal with a lot of
God.
casinos, and they have like requirements for some of the waitress at certain times if they want to work. They had to like weigh in and stuff.
Oh,
And
wow.
yeah, it's nuts. It's nuts. But I feel like Mrs. Met, like somebody picks that. She gets drafted first. Let's put it that way.
Oh yeah, yeah. She's a high transfer in the portal for sure.
Well, I'm just glad to see that they're rolling with Bilotti here and give
Oh my
homeboy
God.
the night off.
I don't know if you guys know this about me, but I'm an Andrew Bilotti truther. Andrew Bilotti's my guy. I think he's an electric factor. He's got swing and miss stuff. He had like 80 strikeouts in like 50 something innings last year. His K per 9 is just absurd. If he keeps his control, like I think Bilotti's got closer stuff. Like I think he will be a closer down the line. Maybe not for us, but in general in baseball, he'll be a closer. Like I think he's got that good of swing and miss stuff. So every time he comes out, and when he was on the minors killing it, and they wouldn't bring him up, I was freaking out on Twitter about it. So I feel like every time he pitches, it's like a personal legacy inning for me.
Wait, you see this play? I mean, this team, dude. Bryson Stott is just so smooth. Love everything about him.
How could you not?
Everything about him. Look at
I'm
that.
still processing Mark Henry saying Andrew Bilotti has closer stuff right now.
Ooh.
I don't think that's a crazy take. He had 80 strikeouts in like 50 something innings last year. I love Bilotti. I am I am the president of the Andrew Bilotti fan club.
I did not know you felt this strongly about that.
I love him. Yeah. No, I trust him more than like half our bullpen.
Wow.
It's just like,
Yeah. Sean's like thinking about coming in on Saturdays.
No, not that. I don't think it.
What's the Dubai guys doing on Friday?
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not a Bilotti guy. He's a guy that I personally take a goodness when he walks in the arena.
he's been good. Bilotti's been good. I think he had like 2 bad outings this year, but it's because they used him so much in April. He did seem to tire his arm out a little bit in May. They sent him down. I think it was good to send him down, but I thought they kept him down.
Better not give Shohei the frickin' day off tomorrow. That's all I know.
Oh,
Yeah, true. That would suck.
Wait, so Renfroe is playing in this game?
Renfroe.
What the heck?
It's weird.
I'm confused. I wasn't paying enough attention during this game. Are all these guys just playing? That's insane.
That doesn't make any sense.
That makes no sense at all. All right, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to make my defense pick because I'm scrambling and I forgot I was on the board. I'm going to take the Ravens D because they played the Houston Texans in week 1. That's all I care about with defenses. I care about who they play in week 1 because I'm probably
Who's starting tomorrow for the Phils?
I think it's Sanchez.
All right, because I only got Detmers listed for them.
Is this salty or fair that I'm like the biggest Seattle Mariner fan in the world right now because they took both Texas and Houston out. So Verlander and Max are now only hopeful for wild cards.
I like that.
Girlfriend shit, bro.
That's a good Mets angle to take on it. I like it. You got to find some way.
You're throwing a tribute out there for Verlander.
That was brutal.
It's too soon. Like, let it, like, you know. But he gave us hope, man. Like, never played, but he gave us hope. Like, oh, it was such a great signing. And then him and DeGrom played like 3 weeks. And then him and Verlander played like 2 weeks together. So
I've got a football question for you guys.
Mhm.
Out of these 3 names, who's most likely to have a fantasy relevant quarterback season?
CJ Stroud, Jordan Love, or Bryce Young?
Well, to preface it with, I drafted Bryce Young as my backup quarterback.
Did you really?
I did. I would throw that. I think Jordan Love has a chance to be pretty relevant too, to be honest. I think there's a chance that he produces enough, that there's enough, he can dink and duck and have enough talent around him to be decent. I don't necessarily hate all of them. I would probably go Bryce Young, Jordan Love, CJ Stroud though.
I might go Love one. I think Stroud's last. I think we can agree that Stroud's probably last.
No,
I think I put Stroud one.
I think I'm going
really
young 3, and I'm going Stroud 2, and I would go Love 1.
I think I'd go Stroud, Love, Young.
Wow.
Would be for me. I think the Texans have a lot of interesting receivers. Like, you do have Tank Dell, you have John Mechie, you have Dalton Schultz, you have Damian Pierce coming out of the backfield. They're saying they're going to use him more in the passing game. Like, and there's another one I'm missing.
You said Collins, right?
Nico Collins. Yeah, he's a guy who a lot of people are really high on, and they think he could have a kind of a breakout season this year. So I feel it, and I think Stroud is probably the most ready out of the 3 to play, just from like a personal standpoint. I think and the thing with Stroud that's interesting, the most interesting thing with Stroud, and why I'm a little bit in on his fantasy potential this year, in that Georgia game, he was running, man. He was running in that Georgia game. What if Justin Fields didn't really run that much in college? Like,
that's true.
What if it's one of those things where at Ohio State, Ryan Day doesn't let his quarterbacks run that much? What if it's one of those things where we get CJ Stroud in the NFL and he's moving? He has the speed to do it. I think there's a chance he could in the NFL.
Mm-hmm. I'm curious. My only bite back on that is I don't think any of those names on the Texans I don't think the Panthers' weapons are awesome, but I think they're all better than what they have in Houston. Like, Adam Thielen is the best receiver out of anyone you mentioned.
Bro, Adam Thielen's old as shit. Come on,
man. And I drafted him, so I agree with Sean Bernard.
The Texans, well, it's tough to say. It's just hard to say better because all the Texans guys are so young. They're so
DJ Chark.
I think
watch Thielen have like 95 catches this year. Watch, just mark my
good. I think also for the Texans guys is higher, but like right now, if you're looking at the names, like the names are probably safer for Carolina, if that makes sense.
Yeah. That's fair.
Also, I'm excited to see Jordan Love. I've been and like the only thing that's bothered me is that Greeny has just been about it, and now everybody's starting to vibe with the Packers.
Yesterday,
I love Watson. It's a winning franchise. LaFleur, you might not think he's the perfect coach. I think he's a good coach. And Jordan Love did look damn good against the Birds last year, and he just looks comfortable. He's been there forever. Why not? Why can't he be comfortable?
Also, can I suggest to keep the league fun, interactive? One, we got to figure out something for that last place guy, right? Like that last place going. But Monday morning fantasy, right? Whether it's Roy, Sean, me, or Mark, and just 5 minutes on a stream, just talking trash, and get that bottom to at least be active. You know?
Yes.
So that's
we have a lot of ideas that we'll figure it out and make sure that we kind of keep people updated on this. I am gonna have to duck out in a minute to go
I'm pulling.
This Bleeding Green Nation pod that I got to do, but
Rach just picked the Packers.
Yeah, I did.
Oh, thank you, Sean.
I meant to before I head out. I do want to just say I did an NFC North preview podcast yesterday with Shane Half, who picked the Packers, and he was the first person I heard be high on the Packers. And then in the last 24 hours, I've seen a million people talk about how the Packers are going to the playoffs. I didn't know that there was Packers buzz out there, but there is.
Jordan Love.
People are all in.
All that money had to go somewhere, right? They got, I don't know.
Well, this was fun. I appreciate everyone, rocking out. Mark, holding it down, of course. Kamish, Tansy setting us up. Great questions, and Powers putting it together. Everyone being on. Great job all the way. We'll cut some things up. As always, the video will be on StreamYard. So if you need anything, just let us know. If you want a clip, whatever. But yeah, man, this is great, and just setting us up for just different. That's immediately, it was already different, and it excites me, and that's what it's all about. So excite me. No, I didn't feel like that. It just sounded funny. So I'm stoked though. I'm stoked, and Roy is going to be joining me on Thursday, so we'll do a little recap, probably top 3. Roy, I'll ask you in your opinion, besides yourself? Give me the top 2 or 3, and we'll obviously hit on the issues. That'll be Thursday.
All
right. Looking forward to a fantasy football season. Let's go.
Yeah,
sounds good.
Perfect.
Cool.
All right. Good night, everybody.
Well, I'm wrapping up. Everybody, hold it down.
Awesome. Thank you, gents.
Peace.
All right, now that he's gone. No, I'm just kidding.